Welcome to Lost in the Script TV, episode 189, Law and Disorder. Hello, everyone. Another week has passed. Another Sunday is here. Couldn't go live yesterday, so I had to push it to today, but hopefully, as always, y'all had a stress-free week as possible. Be sure to like it on your way in or whatever, but a lot to get to this week, or 2 weeks, since I didn't go live last week. A lot of stuff to get to, some politics, some social commentary we're going to get to. Hold on, y'all. Let me make sure everything is open. All right, hold on. All right. Get right into it. Unfortunate news of another week of very important figures in the culture passing away. The unfortunate passing of Roy Ayers, who's Everybody Loves the Sunshine Charm Generations dies at 84. Rest in peace to Roy Ayers, godfather of Neo Soul. You know, it's crazy because we just lost Angie Stone, and now it's him. And there's this old running joke that you hear people say, where they say, you know, people who ain't never died dying now, where people who certain ilks and personalities and people who have a certain status are the ones who are passing, and it seems to be back to back to back. Some dying from natural causes, you know, age and stuff, and others having tragic accidents, and you know, especially when it comes to the Angie Stone that happened a couple weeks ago. But rest in peace to him. Condolences to his family, to all the people who enjoyed the music and creativity that he shared with us. But it also made maybe go and look up how many people we have lost so far this year, considering, you know, we're just in, you know, March. So I looked this up right here, and there's a few people who on this list who maybe not gonna get the same attention or whatever, but great entrepreneurs, people who were people who exploded into the business world and all the other stuff. Former NBA players like Oliver Miller, who just passed away. Rest in peace to him. Donald Slit Watts, Junior Bridgman, but Dwayne Wiggins, Tony had a passing. One of the members. A lot of passings has happened, and I'm saying this because I noticed like an uptick in the usage of certain words and stuff. The word, and I know it's the word people use, obviously, but I'm seeing that term soul being used a lot. And I go across social media and I'm seeing, especially down south, there's a resurgence in certain music being listened to. Certain traditions are being brought back almost. And it's kind of crazy that it coincides with a lot of the people from that era, a lot of the legends from that era passing away. Almost like their spirit is going back into the culture. But anyway, a lot of people on this list, as you can see: Harry Elston, Roy Ayers, obviously, Sylvester Turner, Angie Stone. Angie Stone just had her funeral. I saw some of it. Saw Kiki Wyatt sang at it, and I saw Tyler Perry speak at Angie Stone's funeral, and he brought up how she was being treated by the industry, how unfair she was being treated, and you know, all that type of stuff. And it was, and everybody said unanimously, right message, wrong messenger, because it's crazy how he can get on stage and talk about people being treated unfairly in the industry when he was part of the reason why things happened to other people, such as obvious Monique. Regardless of what you think about her, he had a hand in it, admitted to it, and still didn't try and fix it or rectify it yet. So kind of funny that he was there saying the things he was, but you know, it is what it is. Chris Jasper, Roberta, rest in peace to all the people we have lost so far this year. Hopefully it slows down, but I understand that time means people have to go and past things have to happen, and That's kind of the natural order of things. So rest in peace to everyone that we've lost. Now, I want to get into another person, a legend, a person who was cherished, and her art and music has been something that people have constantly praised as far as her part in this group. Somehow, another story came out about this. Dawn Robinson, ex-involved member, over 3 years. So this went around and people questions about this stuff. And Regina, peace. Train, peace. So now we got to get into Dawn Robinson. And first, I'm gonna play the video. This isn't the whole video, obviously. I'm gonna play some of the video of what she said about her situation.
You guys, for the past almost 3 years, I have been living in my car. I said it. Oh my God, it's out. I've been living in my car. Oh my gosh. If you remember, if you guys were with me, in 2020, I did like 105,000 interviews. And in the interim, I was living with my parents in Vegas. And that was wonderful until it wasn't. I love my mom, but she became very angry. And a lot of her anger, she was taking out on me, and I was her target all the time. And I was like, I can't deal with this. Like, I respect her too. Me here. And I was sleeping in my car for maybe about a month in Vegas. And then the guy that was co-managing me at the time was living in LA. And he said, you need to come back to LA. Okay. And he said that I could stay with him. And so I was like, okay. He's like, I don't have a lot of room, but I'll make room for you. And then when I got to his place, he actually didn't have room for me. So it turned into, okay, well, I'm going to put you in a hotel for the night. And that one night turned into 8 months. Oh my God, you guys. Because every apartment that I looked at, every single time I looked at a place, I would call him and I'm like, okay, can you meet me here? I would tell him ahead of time, of course. And then he wouldn't meet me there until I would take video and send it to him. And he's like, no, oh my God, this neighborhood, I hate it. I mean, I felt like he was playing games, and I knew he was playing games, and I wasn't the one. I'm like, come on, I'm trying to make this easier on you because financially, I know it's got to be hard. You're paying your rent and you're paying my hotel. His apartment was $1,700 a month. And then my hotel was over $3,000. Yeah. So, and I was always stressed every week because he would pay weekly for the hotel. So every week I was like, oh my God, can you afford it? Are you okay? And he's like, no, I can't, but I'm getting it together. What? You're the one who said to go to the hotel, and you're not approving any of the apartments. Like, it would be so much cheaper to just get me into an apartment. Like, problem.
Okay, lot said on this topic. Regina says, all the glitters ain't gold and all is coming to light being revealed. Craig, what up, Craig? This made me sad because I love Dawn. Definitely, it's funny when this came out, this came up, Travis was pointing out that a lot of the biggest songs that En Vogue released, she was the lead singer. So obviously with this coming out, the main discussion became, how in the hell is Dawn homeless? In the full video, she mentions basically that she almost chose not to opt into certain things in life. You know, you have certain people that are just make the decision to live on the outside of society. You know, we've heard rumors that she was difficult in the group she was in Vogue, and then, you know, after that, the one with whatchamacallit, she was blamed for being hard to work with or deal with, even though she has a different story. She says that some people was jealous of her, or if they weren't jealous of her, they weren't happy certain opportunities she gained. Now, one of the things that came from this, people point out her being homeless and started creating narratives about her situation. You had certain celebrities came out, like I got the article here, hold on. Like do I have the article? Jermaine Dupri. He came out and talked about it because in the full video, she kind of made the point that she chose to live in her car, that she's choosing to live a certain way. And let me say this. I have seen certain celebrities, I don't want to use this word, but it kind of fits. Celebrities that were once famous, I'm not going to use the word. Celebrities that were once more relevant, prominent, or artists who, or should I say entertainers that kind of never got their big break, they are starting to create these YouTube channels or these TikTok pages where they're showing how they're living minimalist lifestyles, or they're living in RVs, or living off the grid, should I say. That is something I'm seeing a lot of quote unquote celebrities do. That's real. But the thing about her that people kept pointing out was they started bringing up her mental state. People were accusing her of being a bit off. I did see that she said some certain things about that I agree with about COVID-19 and all that other stuff. So she's kind of on that side of things, I guess, when it comes to politics and how she views certain things of society. But it is a shame that someone who can be such a big part of that group while they're on tour and, you know, doing what they do, she's kind of just stuck here, regardless if she says that she's choosing to live that life or if she is in a situation where she has no choice. I will say her pointing out that she had her co-manager paying the hotel price and expecting him to help find her a apartment kind of shows that it's probably not her choice. It's more so the option she has right now, but it is what it is. Regina said, yeah, she sounds off in the video, which makes you wonder what, if anything, is going on beneath the surface. Well, unfortunately, we know that when it comes to the industry, regardless if you're a singer, rapper, actor, any part of the entertainment industry, some of these people go through very extreme psychological things and they never quite get over it, and it affects them for the rest of their lives. Some people, it starts from childhood. Some people, it starts when they get introduced to these people. So, you know, it's unfortunate. But Dawn Robinson, a former member of Grammy-nominated girl group and Vogue, revealed on YouTube that she has been living in her car for over 3 years. Robinson became intrigued by the van life social phenomenon and moved to Los Angeles in 2020, living out of her car. Despite being a successful R&B singer, Robinson has become devoted to the lifestyle and has been supported by her family and friends. So I'm hoping this is something she chose to do. I saw that her upload on what's called got a lot of views, so it's gonna get more attention than it normally got. Her going viral with this helps her if her desire is to just stay into that van life thing. I'm sure that people will be more than willing to help her if she asks for it. She will have the people that will critique and say certain things about it, but she don't seem like the person who cares. I saw her community post about this after she went viral, and I don't think she cares what people think of her. So we'll see. But anyway, good luck to her, and hopefully things work out for her. But I do wish that there was a way we can protect people like her. I remember they were talking about it at the Grammys, that the Caucasian artist, I forgot her name, Ronan, I forgot how you say her name. She basically asked for a union in music where when certain people get to a certain age or put enough time into the industry, they should have a safety net, basically, to stop them from being in certain situations they can't control. So hopefully something like that happens soon. Yeah, I sorry talked about it because they were talking about her, whether she's gonna get, what's the guy's name from the Cosby Show? When he came out years ago and he was working at a store, the guy from Cosby Show, and he was offered work and he was offered money and stuff, and he didn't want the money. He said he wanted opportunities. I think Nicki Minaj or someone like that gave him like $500,000 or $100,000, and he donated it to a charity. So I don't want handouts. I want an opportunity in my field. I'm an actor. I'm a working actor. I can do it. I think he got one job with Tyler Perry, and after that it was kind of over for him. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Let's get to this now. Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama worries about who we want to be as a country and live IMO podcast at SXSW. Michelle Obama has another podcast, after being given $20 million to do a podcast on Spotify that apparently didn't do well, her and Obama. Now she has another podcast, and we already saw this coming when I remember when Angela Rye and them started their podcast. And one of the reasons why you're starting to see more high-level political pundits or former political people into politics are starting podcasts because they're trying to, as they say, compete with Joe Rogan. They don't think that someone like Joe Rogan is on their side, even though for the most part, from what I've heard from Joe Rogan, is he's a liberal. But he just didn't agree with the two last candidates they tried to put in. So now they're trying to create their own controlled version of Joe Rogan. Someone with the largest platform who they can use to push their propaganda because they know people don't trust mainstream or legacy media anymore. The CNNs and the CBSs and hell, even Fox. So they have to find a way to go get around Joe Rogan. So they're trying to use this anybody they can. I don't think this is going to work out with Michelle Obama at all. I think the Obama name in general is tarnished already. It's kind of already used up all the juice that it has. So it is what it is. Virginia says, Hollywood has proven to be the biggest gamble. Most diabolical place where someone sells their soul, give up their power. I've got more sensitivity to those who choose it and make it out alive. I agree. Agreed. Definitely. Let me show this short clip from this Michelle Obama podcast. What up, Honorable?
The result, you and me, we were physically close growing up.
Remember when we used to share a bedroom?
Of course, that was our life growing up. We shared the same room until you went to high school, right?
That's right.
Now, this is clear that the reason she started this podcast, Michelle Obama, she started this podcast with her brother. This whole first 10 seconds or 17 seconds I just played, this is their attempt to be relatable. So they're trying to make Michelle Obama relatable to the average person again. That's why they're pointing out that they share the same bedroom until he went to high school, and they're trying to bring her down to earth, make her and have something in common with the common person here in America. But she's already past that. It's too late.
Well, let's first just recall how small the apartment we lived in. You know, it seemed like it was huge, but it was essentially 2 bedrooms. Right?
No, it was 1 bedroom.
Well, that little offshoot bedroom that mom and dad stayed in, you would consider that a bedroom.
But that was the only bedroom. The room we were in was actually the living room. And the living room what we called the living room was actually the dining room.
Huh. Okay. All right.
This is their attempt to be more common. Agreed, it's too late. Yeah, it's over for that. This is kind of pointless. Like I said, this is their attempt to usurp the Joe Rogan, his part in politics, trying to create somebody who has that large of a platform. But yeah, I don't think, I saw someone say that this might be a soft launch to her trying to start a campaign. I don't believe so. I don't think that's what they're going with it at all. I think the Democratic Party is pretty much throwing their hands up and just hoping that people just hate the Republicans enough to vote for somebody they push out in 2028. I want to show this too, speaking of politics. Kamala Harris. I just want to show this clip because I haven't kept up with her breakdown of Kamala Harris's ancestry since the election. And I want to show this now.
All the chronicles.
Craig said, so they lived in 1-bedroom apartment in O Block. Yeah, like I said, if it's not true, by the way, because unfortunately a lot of these politicians lie about their upbringing to be more in common with everyday people. People are going to look up where she lived. They're going to look up her parents, what they did for a living, their educational background, what they did for their career, and if she's lying, there's somebody going to point it out. But yeah, that's pretty much what they're trying to do. Anyway,
just happened by accident because I was like, there's nothing about her that just signals to me that she's black, and she was kind of running on being black. And then we started our series and she dropped it. She would not say she was black again. She would not answer. Oh yeah, she never said it again. Never called herself the first black nothing. They stopped it immediately because I just realized they like come up with these books and people just don't ever actually prod the narrative. And there was a ton of things that weren't making sense. And so we got in touch with her uncle, and he was like, nope, that person's not related to me. Nope. He was like, it was crazy. I just got, that's me. I get like I'll get into the weeds.
And so what was the final founding on that? Did you come to a conclusion?
Yeah, she's mixed, but she's not black. And so running as the first black person was just completely crazy. She's not mixed black. Like she's
no black at all, you're saying?
She's Indian, her Indian, Syrian, Jew, and Irish.
So she's unblack then?
She's unblack.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was running on like a black thing.
And this dude, Theo Von, is another offshoot of the Joe Rogan universe, which a lot of these podcasts, if you go to like the top 100 or top 50 podcasts on like Spotify, you'll see that a lot of those people in that top 50 have some way and another have some connection to Joe Rogan, whether they had multiple appearances on there or directly he gave them a shout out on one of their platform. It's amazing to me how many people are connected to him. But anyway, and that's what the Democrats are trying to compete with. The entire universe, podcast universe created that they call right-leaning, or conservative side, where they're willing to invite. I think he had Donald Trump on his platform as well. Not Donald Trump, but maybe one of his sons or someone right-wing, some heavy political right-wing person was on his platform. So, yeah. Oh, what up, Mark? The Syrian Jew is not surprising because you find out when you start looking into anything in the Caribbean islands or particularly like Jamaica and stuff, just the Indians, Asians, and quote unquote Jewish people live there. But let me show this now because Wendy Williams is still a slight story. Let me just give a quick update on this. Wendy Williams' guardian blasts inaccurate claims about assisted living prison. So more updates on this Wendy Williams thing where I've seen the fact that a court can tell you, and we talked about this already, obviously, but a court can tell you that you can't access your money because you're not mentally fit, and then they can put someone in place to control your money outside of your family. Even though she's now starting to say things, talking about Wendy Williams, she's now starting to say things about her family members and them not treating her right. Let me play this right quick. So apparently that she was sent to the hospital. They're still not allowing her to leave. I can't help but look at this Wendy Williams story and how it's being drawn out the last couple months, especially with TMZ involved. And I'm hoping this doesn't happen, but I can't see this ending anything other than one way. I won't be surprised in the next 6 months if this comes to an end some way or another, and probably in not so positive way, unfortunately. But that was just a quick on that. I want to get to... Hold on. Okay. Speaking of updates, Diddy's legal team claims CNN altered Cassie Ventura assault video and destroyed original footage.
This broke a huge story on the website. An unbelievable story.
Honorable says, this story confuses me. Wasn't there a way of protecting their money from the husband? What went wrong? A lot of stuff happened. It seems like it started, like you said, with the husband, and then it kind of went to the courts protecting it through the entire family, and they decided to just put someone, a guardianship, have somebody else in control of it. And then, obviously, they said she wasn't mentally fit. She took her test, her mental acuity test, and she passed it, apparently, but they still saying that she's not trustworthy yet. I don't know. This seems something, it's clear to me, at least, that there is some type of network involved in this. It's more than just the family versus the courts. It seems to be some type of network involved where it's a third party trying to get access to her funds and take it.
Remember the Cassie video? This is Diddy beating Cassie in the hallway of the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles back in 2016. Everybody assumed this video was going to be a really important part of the federal case, even though he's not being charged for this. The prosecution wanted to play this video to the jury in the federal case. I do not think that's going to happen because CNN, according to the defense, altered this video before it aired it and has now destroyed the original.
Like I said, unbelievable. If true that original copy of that video has been destroyed, I can't even get into why it would have been destroyed. But the bottom line for the case, as you say, is if that's true, it's going to be a huge hurdle in the prosecution getting this admitted.
It's not going to get admitted, but let's get into what happened. Now, there is a joint letter that was filed today in federal court by both the prosecution and the defense regarding evidence. Now, this portion of the letter involving the Cassie video, it was the narrative is from the defense.
Right.
So let's get into what the defense is saying.
So here's what they say about the tape. They say CNN purchased the only known copy of the hotel surveillance footage, uploaded that footage into a free editing software, altered the video, and then destroyed the original footage, even though it knew about and repeatedly reported about the federal investigation.
Okay, that is breathtaking for a couple of reasons. Number one, I mean, obviously, they paid for it and then destroyed it. But between paying for it and destroying it, according to the defense at least, it was altered. They did not air the full version. They said they sped it up, they took things out of sequence.
Right.
And that's, if true, it is shocking.
The speeding up and the editing of it.
So it is now inadmissible in court. So the one thing, physical evidence they had so far, public at least, of him being a person who can be, at least his character can be assassinated through the evidence, can now not be used in court. Regina says Hollywood died with pandemic. We're now being entertained by these videos. Yeah, and especially the last month or so, they just had another lawsuit updated that included the comedian Drewski and the former NFL player, I don't know if he might be still in the NFL, Odell Beckham Jr. And it included Jaguar Wright as well. It seems now like everything is being done to almost muddy the waters as much as possible before this trial starts. We saw it with the Jayz accuser, who also had Diddy in that case. So if that was debunked, and now Jayz is going hard for Busby, that also acquitted Diddy in that situation. We know now that a whole bunch of people are putting lawsuits on him and trying to get a bag out of it. And it more and more, you're starting to say, well, okay, we know what he's been accused of, but what is he actually on trial for? Well, trafficking. But we also know that he was dealing with male and female prostitutes. So I don't know how strong this case is and what really can happen. They pretty much doing the same thing they did to R. Kelly. But I don't know. I don't think this Diddy case is holding up strong at all. It's almost like it's on purpose, but it is what it is. Speaking of R. Kelly, R. Kelly decided to remix a song from Jail, and I'm gonna play it now.
This call is from a federal prison. This call is from Robert Kelly. This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. To accept this call, press 5. You may begin speaking now. I got 2 minutes. Let's go. First, I want to thank my fans for being a realist. Now let's get down to business on this greedy remix. Had to make this phone call just to let you know you ain't shit. It's questions on my mind. It's questions on my mind. You're still selling my music, making all this money. Don't even send shit to my books for commentary, no. Oh, I'm in this place, I know I don't deserve it. No, it's questions on my mind. It's questions on my mind. Did I build you up?
Show me love. I'm not talking about no cheating. Tell me who's getting all my checks? Where's my money?
Oh Lord. R. Kelly said, "Who getting all my checks?" Honorable said, "If Troy released an album from jail, R. Kelly needs to drop one as well." Mark, this reminds me of a Boondock episode, bruh. If you type in R. Kelly right now on YouTube, and people don't uploaded this song like 1,000 times already, all in the comment section, praise, "Oh, R. Kelly, we need you to drop again. The king of R&B, the king of R&B." And like, man, this dude got 30 years. I will say though, everybody's making a joke that Tory Lanez need to definitely send his team, get his team in contact with R. Kelly so he can release some albums, because he said he got 25 albums he's written since being in there. And I think I've already asked this question, but I wonder how many people on the outside are buying songs from R. Kelly still, because he's still writing. Well, I don't know if he's still incapable of writing or reading, but he's still producing music, I'm sure, from inside the walls. So some of these people on the outside are acting like, they ain't saying his name, they're not talking about it, but they definitely still taking them songs from him. This whole situation, this simulation that we're in, it's just crazy. People making music out of prison. I want to ask another question too, because when we talk about prison, we always bring up rehabilitation versus punishment. And in general, not just the celebrities that go in there. Like, there are a lot of talented people who made bad decisions in life and ended up behind a wall. And I do think some of those people should be allowed to rehabilitate themselves with their talent. So should there be and I think it used to be a thing back in like the 80s. They probably should reintroduce these type of things to prison, because you're not going to stop people in jail from having phones, having access to the outside world. It just ain't happening. Calling a cell phone contraband in prison at this point it's pointless. It's a whole economy in there where you can get a cell phone in there for about $800 to $1,500. So you stopping people from getting a cell phone, it's not going to happen. People going to keep bringing them in. It's going to lead to more violence because people are being protective over these precious jewels that is phones in there now. You may as well allow some level of consistent contact outside. I'm not saying everybody should have a cell phone, but allowing people to use their talent in the jail, whether it be through music or whatever, and upload it to the internet. I'm not saying there should be profit from it. I'm not saying there should be a lot of sound record deals or nothing, but you probably should introduce things like that to jail now, because you're not going to stop them from doing it. They got a whole podcast in jail. People are doing podcasts from jail. So, whole TikTok account, Instagram. Mark says the majority of the U.S. population doesn't want our people being rehabilitated in prison. Yeah, it don't make sense. If you're going to have somebody serve 15 years in prison, if you just want them to be in there, sit in their cell and do their time, okay, but if you want to rehabilitate them, you need to let them flourish with the talent they have. I'm not saying they should be able to just basically be on the outside, but look, man, just wanting somebody to be in jail to be on punishment ain't going to do nothing. Because all you're doing is sending people to jail and making them, at least majority of them, even a hardened criminal than they were when they went in. Nobody's been rehabilitated. They're just in there and becoming more violent. Then it says so many hoteps and conscious men come out of the prison system. Yeah, they find either they're Muslim, Hebrew Israelite. You don't see as many Christians come out. They typically get away from that in prison. But yeah, they find themselves Buddhist. The Kemetic teachings, the African conscious system, all the other stuff. We know. Let's move on. 5%ers, Moors, exactly. Regina. I don't say you would open people up to be exploited even more by the state and prisons. That would make a major deal with companies off housing notorious criminals or celebrities. When it's already happening, you're already owned by the state. I mean, I don't think you can get more exploited than you are right now. You already license plates. You got whole companies, Kellogg, all these other companies, your cereal, your all type of stuff that's being created or being put together by prisoners already. So I don't know how much more they can take advantage of. I mean, hell, the people who are free outside who sign record deals are getting getting taken advantage of. So I don't know. The system ain't working how it is anyway. Which no, the system is working. It's working exactly how it's supposed to work, but it just don't work now. So I don't know. I was gonna bring up this case this internet story that popped up recently where a mother accused her boyfriend of 5 years of trying to sexually molest her daughter. He had known this little girl since 5. She's 10 years old. And I'm tying this as R. Kelly because she accused him of doing that. And then, the internet got on him and she put his face out there. Everybody was attacking him. And then later, a couple of days later, people started saying that it may not be true, that she's done this before or something similar to this. I don't know if she accused somebody of actually trying to molest her daughter. And then they found these other text messages. I'm not going to show all of them. I'm going to get to a point with this. They went through all these text messages to show that he was saying he did not do anything to her daughter and da-da-da-da-da. And it's one thing we're all going to do the same thing when somebody is accused of trying to do something to a kid. We're never going to assume, one, that a kid is lying. And we would hope that an adult wouldn't lie about somebody doing something to their kid. Let me show this on the screen right quick. Hold on. I'm not going to go into the text message. As you can see, this is him saying that he didn't do this. This is lies. He accused her of texting herself with the phone. Yeah. And it brought me to this story. Arnold said, "Tiny's R. Kelly is wrong. The parents supported their daughters dating R. Kelly as long as the fathers were getting paid." No, I'm not tying it directly to R. Kelly. I'm about to go to something right after this. I don't want to show the young girl's face. I don't want to do that, or the dude for that matter, because I don't know if it's true. So I'm not going to show his or her face. I'm just going to show the text message, the messages back and forth. As you can see, this is what he said to her. Trying to have a light conversation right here. Telling what she doing, yada yada. She bored. She said she watching TikTok, yada yada. And then it quickly turned sexual. When he asked her if she ever performed oral sex, she said no. And apparently, he's saying that this is not him. That this is the mother texting herself. Like I was saying, it is normal when you see someone accused of doing that with a kid to immediately go, the mob mentality, get him out of here. This is sick. First thing you see people saying is, I'm surprised he ain't been put in the dirt already. Don't even need no cops. Street justice should do this if he's trying to do this with your kid. But unfortunately, in some, I would say more rare times, I don't think this is a normal thing to happen. There are, unfortunately, mothers or women who would put these type of things on a man out of spite and just wanting to just destroy him any way they can, and they can destroy their reputation forever. But once again, this has not been proven one way or the other. Now, I'm bringing this up to tie this back to this right here. Because we, once again, don't even know if Jayz is guilty or not. Whose former accuser claiming she's now admitted her story was false. I don't know if I talked about this 2 weeks ago or not. But she came out, or reports came out that she admitted on tape that Busby pretty much told her to push this certain story and what to say, and pretty much saying she was lying. Now, she has came out with a statement again and says she is not lying. She's sticking to what she said, and it's true. Even though we know it seems like this young girl isn't the most, mentally there. So Jayz is trying to go after him hardcore. He's trying to get rid of him any way he can. Arnold said all those text messages didn't seem like they came from a woman they wanted to lose her boyfriend. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it was true or not. I don't want to say he's innocent at all if I didn't show either face. I didn't want to go too into it. But the reaction that immediately came, which was the pitchforks, get him out of here. I think people need to be more... First off, I don't know why she put it online rather than reporting it to police, because he still can... Saying that can still get him on a registered sex offender list, if it's true. So, but on the other hand, you also want to warn people of this man if he did something like that. So it's a slippery slope. Virginia says, isn't she 14 autistic? Yeah, I believe so. Oh, yes. The one who accused Jay-Z, I believe so, yes. She was, at least. I don't know about if you're talking about the young girl from the other story, the black little girl who the mom is accusing the boyfriend, I don't know if the daughter is autistic or not. Once I saw people saying that it might not be true or it could be true, I kind of just got away from it. I didn't want to go too into it because at this point it should be handled by law enforcement if it's true. Hopefully she reports it. But Jay-Z's going after him hard. Weeks after Jane Doe dropped her stunning allegations, Jay-Z is suing her and her lawyers for malicious prosecution and abuse of the process. Regina says, Jay-Z's story, just wondering why he's suing her versus just keeping it with the lawyer left. That's what I was about to say. How do we feel about Jay-Z suing the accuser as well? If we know that she is autistic, and we know that the lawyer is taking advantage of her possibly and making her say things, I don't know if you should sue her. But maybe because she's still standing by she's now standing by her accusation, he wants to go ahead and sue her as well. I don't know if he's looking for any payments for damages from her, but more so trying to make her come out and in writing apologize and say it's not true or something. I don't know. I don't know if I like him suing the woman. I don't know. But hey, man, when it's your name, you got to defend your name, I guess. Anima said you got to sue her for doing the interview with the news. That was the point of no return. Yeah, but you know why she did. Well, I don't even know if Tony wanted her to do the interview. But if he didn't mind it, I still would blame him more than her. So I don't know. I mean, because at the end of the day, when he heard this accusation, this case, he could have kind of came to a conclusion on his own that this ain't nothing to be taken serious. Possibly, it seemed like he was just trying to get a quick buck. But I already gave my conspiracy theory that this whole case was meant to clear up rumors. This is a whole case to me set up by Jay-Z to clear his own name. Give us a witness who's not really credible. Win the case, win it 100% easily, and then now any conspiracy tied to him and sex trafficking gets thrown out the window because he already dealt with it. So Virginia says, yes, he's been manipulated over and over. She's been manipulated over and over, especially if it's actually true. Yeah, that too. But based off of what she said and how things lined up, it doesn't seem like her case in particular, it don't seem like hers can be true, at least in the scenario she gave. Anima says the Carters are holding trial in public at this point. I don't like it. All these leaks are unnecessary. Go in front of the judge. Well, they're trying to change the narrative. Like I keep saying it, her father killed her story. 100%. Her father pretty much popped the whole balloon. Kind of have to play. Let's be honest. For anyone we consider a celebrity or famous, you kind of have to win court in public now. It's no longer the days where, for most entertainers at least, we're no longer in the days where somebody can just stick to the court, don't say nothing public, allow your lawyer to do their job, and when the verdict is given out, not guilty, everybody will change their public opinion to saying you're not guilty. That's just not how it works. I've seen so many men accused. We've seen athletes and from college get accused of assault. Don't say nothing publicly. Listen to their lawyer. Allow the so-called victim to create all type of narratives and push certain theories. And then by the time you're found not guilty, everybody just says, "Oh, the system was rigged against the victim. This whole verdict don't matter." It's like so you have to publicly. I remember there was a football. He was accused of sexual assault by a young lady. For a couple of days, he didn't say anything. So all the narratives came about. Keep in mind, he's one of the top 5 most famous people on the planet. He didn't say much. And he decided, because the narratives were getting so thick and it was getting such a big deal, he decided to release the text messages showing he'd been talking to this woman for months, that this was their first time meeting, that everything that happened was consensual. Because if he didn't release those text messages, he would have been considered guilty by the public. Same thing with a few other people. So on one hand, I agree. You don't need to, take the head off of some woman who clearly is autistic. You shouldn't have to do that in public. But if you don't, then the social media will run with stuff and never stop. Virginia says, I just being Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black on Netflix. Jay-Z is getting... Oh, Tyler Perry, my God. I haven't watched that show ever since I watched that other show. I watched one episode of that, what's the name of it? His brother's TV show. Is it Brothers? Once I saw what that show was, I knew what the other show was called Sisters. And I already knew what Beauty in Black and that other one, the Queen's Men. I didn't even watch the episode. I already know what type of time he on. Everybody's saying he freaked out. People butt naked on the TV shows. I saw somebody said on X, they didn't know that Netflix would allow that type of nudity. Animal says, nobody cares about the story. Covering it does nothing but boost the algorithm. They will end all the leaks and save the presentation for the judge. Also, these updates not helping that tour sale. You think Beyonce not selling that? What's going on? Say Beyonce can't sell? All right, let me show this too. Doesn't boost the algorithm. Let me show this. Mark said, so these shows Roland Martin watches. Hold on. Yeah, Tyler Perry on some freak stuff when it comes on TV shows. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, because I didn't know Netflix would allow you to get that low. Virginia says nothing but debauchery. Yes.
I feel the rain. It's raining all over me. I'm moist.
Yeah, Tyler Perry, and it's so crazy how Tyler Perry started. He started on, he did Christian plays pretty much. He played on the older black female audience in church. He kind of preyed on their audience in his early play career, when he did his early plays. And then now it's just sex, and everything he do. It's his extreme sex scenes, nudity, the most raunchiest scenes you'll see will be a Tyler Perry movie or show. Like, it's crazy. Craig says that Roland Martin shit was insane. Bruh, and the fact that it just kind of went away, the man had a grown man ass cheeks out on his live stream, and it just kind of went away. But we're gonna get into that Roland Martin. We're gonna get into that fraternity shit later on. Honorable says her fans saying the concert not selling, tickets too high, and the first show ticket prices just got lowered last week. Well, I mean, her tour don't start until like 2 months, ain't it? Virginia says, and mostly gay sex scenes. I don't know. Only sex scene I saw was on that show Brothers. I think it's called Brothers. And I didn't know that he was that. I didn't know he showed that much. And I did not understood why shows like the Oval and all those other shows stayed on BET Plus and stuff, and how they still was getting new seasons. I'm like, why the hell is a Tyler Perry show getting 4 or 5 seasons? What is going on? Mark said, wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah, he started his whole career on church, and now every year he just goes further and further into, yeah, it's crazy. That's why he's still mad with Boondocks to this day. Now, let me play this. Speaking of false allegations, let me play this.
I'm going to ask you to culturally translate something and tell us what it means. Because it's become a flashpoint phrase, slogan, whatever, that I think a lot of people either misunderstand or willfully misconstrue. When I say the term
I don't say church people like sex too. Oh, we know. Everybody got a story of something they saw with somebody in church on a Friday, a Saturday, a Tuesday. But on a Sunday, they're in there shouting, shoulders bouncing in the air, the biggest hat you ever seen on. And I ain't talking about the young women in the church either. I'm talking about Miss Elder. I'm talking about them ones that, you know, you don't expect to be out there. So don't forget Miss Bertha deciding to wear the tightest skirt she can and walk in front of the congregation and do her shout in front of everybody so she can get some attention. So I know church people love sex too.
Believe all women.
Nah. I'm so glad you asked that, because that, first of all, that phrase does not come from me or the Me Too movement.
Okay.
I do not subscribe to the phrase believe all women.
When the Me Too movement first popped up through her, Burke, the believe all women thing started, and she not once did she come out and shut it down. This is how we always talk about how the pendulum will just shift left and right to the extremes. When the Me Too movement, so you had this pre-Me Too movement thing where men and women, but men were in Hollywood or entertainment industry were 100% taking advantage of the situation, the power they gained from having status, whether it be a producer, director, executive, any level. They were taking advantage of women and men in order for them to gain some level of prominence. But it went completely left with the Me Too movement, where if you were accused of something, regardless if it was you were guilty, it was completely you was completely just shunned and destroyed. I can't remember what actor it was, but there was one actor during the Me Too movement. It was a white dude. He donated his whole check from a movie to women because he was so afraid that one of these women were going to accuse him of something. So he tried to be the biggest ally he could become. He tried to be so much of an ally that he donated his entire movie check. I think what's his name, Chadwick Boseman. He was super. He made sure that whenever he did movies, a few times that he made sure the women made as much as he did, or it was fair or whatever. But now you're seeing people look at that Me Too movement and see that there were a lot of women, unfortunately, were taking advantage of the situation to try and gain status. The same thing with Black Lives Matter. You had a lot of people that took advantage of the anger and the attention it was gaining and try to come up, and they did. A lot of these women, these actors, all of a sudden after the Me Too movement became directors, they started getting big budgets for movies. It had nothing to do with not sexually assaulting you or harassing you. It turned into give us more money and let us lead more movies. Anyway, Virginia says, yeah, I know more than why Deacon so-and-so will be shouting so hard because he might have just tapped in the church basement. What up, Kiefer?
That has been ascribed to me. I've never said it. I say believe survivors. As a Black woman, I would never, in America, I would never say believe all women. Ever. It's ridiculous. What we were saying in the beginning is believe survivors. The reason why we say believe survivors and what...
Shout out to the brother that married this woman and made her a wife. Shout out to that brother.
That means is start from the premise that survivors are telling the truth. Because for years, when survivors came forward, we were not believed. And if you start with the premise that survivors are telling the truth, that means that you will investigate thoroughly, right? And you will start and you will give them the space that you give a person that you believe, right? That means that you will say, okay, if I believe you, then I'm going to take you seriously. I'm going to go through all the proper channels to make sure you get the resources that you need, that you get the investigation you need. We didn't get that. If you don't believe me, you're going to dismiss me. You're going to try to undermine my story. You're going to try to bury me, right? All of those things. That's what you do for a person you don't believe. So when people say believe survivors, it doesn't even mean diminish the other person and demonize the other person. It means take me seriously. Believe me and take me seriously.
I'm Mark. Was that a take one for the team? Shout out. I don't know. So she initially stayed quiet until those white women made it clear she wasn't going to be the face of the movement because of the face. Yeah, I remember when was it Jessica Alba? No, it was one of those white women who started becoming the face of the Me Too movement. But a lot of Black women started pointing out it was started by this Miss Burke here, or I don't know where her husband's last name is, so she might have changed her name by now. But they reminded them that actually it was just this Black woman that started the movement. Don't try and whitewash it. So then they brought her in later on, and they tried to create this whole little little board that they tried to create. But yeah, they definitely didn't want her to be the be the face. Honorable says to the white man. No, I think her husband's black. I don't know if you're talking about her, but her husband is black. Mark said, isn't she Caribbean? As far as I know, no, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure she's Black American. But I can look.
That's what survivors are looking for when they say, believe me. Now, believe all women is ridiculous. As a Black woman in America, believing all that I am Emmett Till's white lady, right? I believe all these white women that try to undermine Black men. I would never, ever say believe all women. It's racist. It's so fraught with so many, it's so problematic. So you can't find me saying that anywhere, ever, in the history of me being a public figure.
I'm going to ask you to...
It's funny because when that Me Too movement started and people were talking about the implications of it, the immediate people that started saying, hey, man, this could be a very bad thing for Black men who are constantly being accused of stuff and being innocent. If you say believe all women, then you're pushing this notion that automatically, because if you're going to accuse these other races of men and there's an investigation going on, we've seen that even with Black men, there's an investigation. He's still found guilty of something that he didn't commit. This would be the even bigger negative for him. But I'm looking it up. It says she's African American from New York. I don't see anything that says she's from anywhere else. I'm saying you better look. Don't put that on. What? African American. Although I will say, when you look up people's ethnicity now, it's a little bit harder to find their full background. But nah, Honorable, that's one of us. That's one of us. Shout out to her, man. She sees the light now, I guess. Next story that shouldn't be a story. Mark said, this is why I don't think patriarchy works for us. It depends on what you're talking about. It's like if you believe in the idea of hold on. Let me look something. Hold on. It depends on if you believe in something. Say, do you believe in the idea of capitalism? Open market, free market. You would say, yeah, but there's also there's such thing as predatory capitalism. So you have to make sure you're careful with the type of capitalism you participate in. I think it's the same thing with patriarchy. I think a stable home, your typical traditional, husband, wife, kids, patriarchal lead. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that because there's balance. Patriarchy don't mean men better. It don't mean men do everything. It's just order, balance. Honorable says, why I see a post from Tariq 2019. Burt was on Jamel Hill's podcast and found our Caribbean. Oh, well, hey, if you're right, you're right. I didn't go deep dive. I just checked on her Wikipedia and whatchamacallit. So if she says she's Caribbean, hey, it is what it is. You really don't want her to be part of she really didn't want her to be part of Black America. Mar says, thanks. She says, Tarana's family is actually from St. Kitts, where the violence against women and children is much worse, according to Tariq post. Okay. Oh, you went through Tariq's Twitter. Okay. I didn't check the image. I didn't go to the Twitter. I just went through her Wikipedia. And I guess they tend to focus more on education and stuff, where she got her education from. Mar says, we got to get rid of the term African American. Yeah, I've heard people say that. I've seen a lot more people embrace or go back to talking about just embracing Black American. And I'm going to play that video you sent, Mark, with somebody talking about that. I'm going to play that video next. I don't know, only time I see those noses is during pregnancy. That's not normal. All right, let's move to this. This shouldn't be a story, but it became a story. This tells you the times we're in. Anthony Mackie shares how he's raising his sons amid the death of the American male. Let me play the video.
Humble?
This is him on the Pivot podcast.
Like, my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. My boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like your kids. And no, I don't give a I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Mm-hmm. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tells the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he's gonna straighten the other ones out. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities, for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always, since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night, this alarm is on, you text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, climb through the window, that money means nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity in the world, jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. Yeah. So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different.
Hold up. So this became a big topic. Virginia says, agree, I personally just identify as American, but even that should be questioned. Honorable says, we'll never drop African American. I see West Africans already plotting to take our shit, and it's strange is men are leading there, so to drop it. It's just a constant shift. Yeah. Which is funny because Africans I've seen in Africa are now calling themselves black. So if you say black American, then they're going to say I'm black and I'm American. If you say African American, they're going to say I'm African and I'm American. So there's no way to detach from them or to just separate from them through just name alone. You have to stick to something and just let it be understood that this is what it is. Adam says, dude here is a clown. Talks about destroying masculinity, but then go on to talk about how homosexuals are also there in the community. Well, that's what was crazy that came from this interview, because everybody's began talking about this clip here from the Pivot podcast with Anthony Mackie, where he talked about the death of the American male and masculinity in general. Where he talked about how he's raising his young boys up to be men. I still don't understand the Jordan comment, but regardless, and it seemed like common sense stuff. I did see a lot of people making the point that as a 15-year-old boy, should you put the responsibility on him to be the quote-unquote man of the house? Which has always been normal in society, where the father's in the home and he has to step out, whether it's a business trip or he's going to work for that day and it's a certain, he's going to be gone for a while. Yes, while I'm gone, you, son, you are the man of the house. And I saw a lot of women taking that and saying that creates an entitlement to women, saying that when dad's not home, the person who has authority over the mother and the other sisters or whatever is the oldest male. So they started pushing that feminist thinking, and I disagree with it, but yeah. Mark says that there are plenty of sisters that want to drop it. The African American thing. I've seen just as many content creators and people discussing the separation. I've seen just as many women talking about it as the men. But probably the more viral opinions, at least as far as the people that are put as leaders, are definitely the men. Jenna says, I immediately thought of his gay episodes on Black Mirror. That's another thing. When he said this comment, the first reaction I saw from a lot of people, and mine as well, was, well, you help kill that image of the American male, particularly Black American male. When you did an episode where you falling in love with your gaming friend over your beautiful wife, it's like you helped that. Matter of fact, the industry you're in, entertainment industry, all it push is the lowering of the masculinity of the man. The TV show Paradise. So I watched the entire season of Paradise, and the big debate started with the lead character, the Black husband, and how he didn't tell his wife to stay in DC and allow her to go to Atlanta for an opportunity she wanted. And I defended him, saying, well, the president, he didn't make it clear that the world was about to end. He just simply gave him a slight warning. Hey, things could happen. He didn't flat out say, hey, don't leave the state. It's going to pop off. But if you look at that show, every last man in that show, outside of the father, they all had a lack of masculinity. Let me look at the characters right quick. Hold on, let me look at the characters. Example, K. Brown. He wife to do as she will when he had an inkling that things were going to pop off. She disobeyed anything he wanted, said, I don't care. I'm going to go to Atlanta. Even though I got a husband and 2 kids, I'm going to Atlanta because I want to. Cal, the president, his father directed his entire life. He didn't make any decision for himself until he died. This Sinatra woman, her husband, we don't even see him on the show that often. The antagonist or the villain in the movie is a woman. She's the most masculine, one of the most masculine people on the show. Agent Williams, the one who, well, Billy, he was killed by the woman who was the real assassin on the show, who, you know, no emotion, heartless. It's just, even on that show alone, you wouldn't consider that a strong masculine male on that show. The dude who tried to kill the president had a seemingly homosexual attraction to the black dude that helped them build the place, who got sick and died. So television in general don't push that image. For years, people talk about the trope of the dumb father in comedy in sitcoms. The dad is always the dumb one. The mom is always the responsible one. So it is what it is. Adam says, this clip is also dumb because I'm tired of rich black fathers bragging about denying their children things, wanting them to suffer. Yeah, it was another thing. Who said that? Who said that? Oh, Nelly. I think I talked about that already. Nelly said his daughters, they can come home and stay, whatever. But his sons, if they come, they got a certain day on the clock. And that he's not going to help them as much as he will his daughter. They got to get it out the mud on their own. And I said, I think that is the get it out the mud mentality that black people have built, because a lot of the people who are, majority of the people who are millionaires in our community nowadays, they tend to have gotten it in their own lifetime. They didn't come from money. They had to make their own money. So they have this idea of rags to riches where they want their kids to go through the same thing they did so that they can, quote unquote, gain the experience they have, which creates this mindset that my kids got to suffer in order to live. I agree, it's kind of silly. Virginia says Paradise was great. Sterling Brown, that boy good. Him and his wife have a podcast as well, where they talked about the Black American versus UK actor thing too. Honorable says, Mark, are you talking about the goofy is who deny slavery and believe they are the Indians that are conquered on their own land? All right, we can move on. But yeah, that led to a whole discussion about masculinity, and I saw a viral clip of them that was having a debate about it, and the woman kept bringing up sexual assault, men who commit sexual assault, and it was sad that the dude was making it was Joe Budden. He was making the point that whenever we speak about masculinity in boys and raising our boys, we bring women into the conversation. We qualify a man's raising up his son through how women feel about it. And she kept bringing up sexual assault. She kept tying a man who commits sexual assault to masculinity, and it don't make sense. It's like every week we see a story of a woman molesting or having some type of affair with some young boy in high school, but yet we don't tie a woman doing that to her femininity. It's just a woman committed a crime. It ain't tied to her gender, but it is what it is. And I want to play this one too, because this goes back to the whole dress situation.
They don't like me in Hollywood.
Why do they not like you in Hollywood?
I don't wear dresses. I don't do that gay stuff on TV. You have to get some other black person to do that stuff. I'm talking, that's gutter. But they all confess they love the Lord. But you cannot compromise yourself if you love the Lord. So I play tough guys, but young kids want to be soldiers. Young kids don't want to follow a guy to wear a dress.
I never saw that clip until this situation happened with Anthony Mackie, and somebody posted this. Because maybe look at his career a little different too, because he always played that, like you said, he always played that menacing, bully. But he wasn't willing to wear that dress. All right, let's move forward. I'm gonna have to skip some of these too in a second, so let me just run through these. All right. Slim Thug feels black people aren't serious about reparations. 40 acres and a mule is out of here. Anonymous says, what the white woman ran down the street and the husband sent the black wife to talk to white man while he peeked out of the blinds. What story you talking? What story is that? What a white woman ran down the street and the husband sent the black wife to talk to white man while he peeked. I don't know what that is. I don't know that story.
I know who I am on another level of, like, you can't question my blackness as a black man ever because I'm actually black owned out here. I'm one of the very few rare rappers who is not owned by a white man, by a Jewish man. I don't even know no other rappers who got on a whole catalog like Slim Thug. So to ever question my blackness when I have the integrity enough to not even let a white man own my music, and it's people buying masters and selling masters every day, like it's none. I'm none affected by that. You know what I'm saying? I stand on too much business when it comes to that.
Are you speaking to the comments where you made when you was talking about black people need to move on and stop blaming white folks?
Maybe. I don't. Now that's not what I was talking about. But that they took that clickbait out of that. You need to stop blaming white folks. Yeah, it ain't about, oh man, white people ain't never did nothing to you or nothing like that. It's the mindset. It's the mindset of waiting for somebody to give you something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they wrong. Yeah, they did all that. But why are you waiting on your enemy to give you something? Why are we asking for reparations in 2025 when people came from all over Earth to America and been successful? Even in your neighborhood, the nail lady, the corner store ain't owned by you. You know what I'm saying? But we waiting on somebody to hand us some 90% of the time. And that's why we sit back and in last place when they say which race got the most. Is because instead of taking advantage of right now and just saying, man, without whatever I ain't have, I'm finna make it happen right now. Without nobody giving me nothing, I don't want nothing from nobody. I only want to stand on my feet as a man and go conquer this earth and whatever and leave my legacy behind. You know.
To be clear, you don't want reparations.
I don't want no reparations from nobody.
No, let me stop right there. I want reparations, and here's why.
Okay.
It ain't even necessarily for me. It's for my ancestors, because that is a debt owed. They died. They worked. They were treated like the worst that you can even imagine that somebody could ever be treated, and it didn't end with slavery. It moved on into the Jim Crow era, and it's still going on right to this day. So reparations would absolutely give black people some get back and some seeds to plant. Like right now, a lot of us, we don't have seeds. A lot of these people, everybody else had seeds, including white people. When immigrants come here, they have seeds used and that are provided to them from our government by way of our tax dollars.
Facts.
They will take our shit and give it to them and allow them to come up, but at the same time try to subjugate us. So those reparations ain't just for me, it's for my ancestors. I got it. I could say I don't necessarily need it, but I do know a whole lot of black people that could use them damn reparations to get on their feet.
100% agree with everything you're saying.
And so we need those reparations because it's a debt owed. It's almost like what if
I totally
agree. Some money. What if you gave?
We get the point he was making, but shout out to Ashley. Shalom. So he's Slim Thug has made some comments the last couple of years actually that have pissed people off or turned people against him, but I can't completely be. He has his point of view, but I did like the part that he identified an enemy. I like the fact that in his comments of what he said, he still identified an enemy. So I don't completely disagree with him. The real estate developer dude with the lock story profiled about a white woman with the 2 kids that went yelling down the street like someone had just, oh, okay, yeah. Hold on, Honorable. You shouldn't paint. He didn't send his black wife to talk to the white dude. That's not what happened. You painted him terrible. That was crazy. he came out, and when he came outside, he was direct and stuff. It's just, you know. Virginia said, I agree with a lot of the sentiment because your enemy steals from you, then you expect them to return it. Now you got to take it or forget it because you ain't getting nothing back. Arnold says, Slim is an example of a goofy with outdated talking points that black men like to recycle. Well, some people ain't just recycling talking points, they're living what they're talking. So the fact that he's living what he's saying, like you said, I own all my music. It's not ran by no tiny hats. I own it. I'm not selling it. So he can stand on that opinion because he's actually living it, as far as we know, what he's based off what he's saying. He's actually living what he's saying, so you have to respect him for his opinion. I want to show this though too. Showing a lot of videos right now. I want to show this.
Story that are almost unheard of. 4 siblings and their spouses living in one home harmoniously on land purchased by their great-grandmother, a black woman, in the 1800s. Now, we first told you about it in 2017, and you know, over the years, this may be the story I've been asked about most. I was out and about covering something else when I virtually caught up with Harvard grad, Houston consulting executive, and former Alvin Ailey dancer Reggie Van Lee, who built the house for himself and his sisters. The story behind this mansion is just about as stunning as the home itself.
I built this house not just for my immediate family, but for my extended family, including friends.
Reggie, so the story that I did with you got millions of views. Why do you think it struck a chord with so many people?
And it just awakened in people the recognition that at the end of the day, all we really have is family, and that too many people, black people in particular, have given up family land.
I wanted to show that because that's generational wealth. Because his great-grandmother purchased the land, and then he came along and built on top of it, something been passed down and you grow it. Same thing as somebody leaving you an inheritance and you grow the funds. Now he's going to be able to pass it on to his kids, and it'll keep going. And at some point, I'm pretty sure they could buy more land around and all the other stuff. That's why it's a good idea to want reparations. But Honorable says that yes, he did. He told Shay and Ocho that he was scared to go out there because he know what could happen if he allowed his wife to go alone. That's a black male mentality and masculinity in a nutshell. He really said that. I can't argue then. If you said that, I can't argue. It's kind of crazy to send. But I think that's a thing. I brought this up before. That is a thing that has existed since forever, because if you'll notice, I bring up all the time, if police come to a house with a black man and a black woman there, it's any tension that can exist between the two men. But it is kind of sad that he sent his wife out there. That's crazy. He sounds like he's going to have kids before. All right. I'm not talking about that dude that was talking, by the way. They've been there for a little while. Let me play this one now. There's another clip from Anthony Mackie.
I've been in the business 24 years, right? And I've seen people go from nothing to the biggest stars in the world. I've seen people go from one role to winning Academy Awards and doing all this shit. And what I realized yesterday thinking about it, we're lying to our kids, dog. And I think that's a big problem in our community. We tell our kids that and this is fresh on my heart, like I literally just came to this conclusion last night. We tell our kids if they do right and they make the good grades and they go to the programs and they will become successful. If you work hard enough, your work will be paid off. And that's not true. Success is given. It's not earned. Because you can be the most brilliant. If one person don't tap you, each one of y'all. There were people who could hit harder, who could catch better, who could run faster, but somebody said, you're the one. And the other 50 behind you fell off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because of that, I don't know what that emotion or that feeling is the scary thing. Because I went to all the programs. I've done Broadway. I've done off-Broadway. I've been in the business 24 years. I've been in 2 Academy Award films. I've done independent films. I've done major motion pictures. Now I'm Captain America. So now what?
Very good point. I'm gonna say that that's the thing that needs to be acknowledged during these masculinity discussions. Well, that discussion you're talking about is not. I wouldn't say that's a fear. It's just a historical understanding that when it comes to quote unquote the historical context behind the black men and Caucasian men, as far as those type of in situations where, especially when women are involved, that it goes left much quicker. But I can say, in a situation with that story you're talking about, you definitely should be more willing to stand on you being innocent than being afraid that this husband is going to come out there and just do something to you. He should have the same fear that you're going to do something to him. But, you know, I don't say that's the only statement I support from him. Absolutely right. Well, that's good. Now I'm going to get to this. Let me open this up. Let me play this.
As well, Robin, for reading the question. And so I think one thing as well is that we, as academics, as Black studies proponents, we do a horrible job. And I don't think it's just Black studies. I think higher education more broadly, we do a horrible job of translating and explaining precisely what it is we do. And because of that, and because of certain levels of professionalization that have made us turn to the values of the institution and disconnected ourselves from the values of the communities that made it possible for us to be there, we have created our own enemies and those who should be our allies. So what I mean by this is that instead of, and I'm not saying, in my comment,
it's called whitewashed.
I'm not trying to say that Black studies is perfect, because we know that there are times when Black studies did not have a space for queer studies and for and certain kinds of feminist thinking. But the broader idea of connecting ideas and knowledge to power and material conditions and campus to community and examining and engaging and embracing different forms of knowledge production, both in and out of the institution, not taking the institution on surface value for what it tells you it is, but for what we see it is. Those are important traditions to follow. And because we disconnected ourselves from that in the spirit of professionalization and what I call earlier, this limited vision of simply academic freedom and shared governance in the campus space, and not understanding how the institution itself is connected to governance more broadly and politics and conditions more broadly, we've actually opened the door for our own enemies that are in our communities. The inability or the lack of interest in translation has opened the door for alternative dangerous knowledge communities like ADOS and FBA. And I would say the reason why the spaces open up for things like that is because we have failed to actually engage and do work in communities. Because Black communities are hungry and desiring of what you call guerrilla learning spaces.
So this guy is basically saying we become whitewashed and gatekeepers. So now the larger community is beginning to go elsewhere for knowledge and understanding. And he's calling Black people who have the idea of ADOS or FBA enemies. I'm gonna say, who is this clown? Another Black academic who pushed BS and pushed all these theories and theologies that do nothing to benefit the community. This man brought up Black studies and started talking about queer. He began talking about the feminist thinking. If it's Black studies, why are we talking about sexuality and gender? It's Black. There's no need to add anything. What are we doing? I was like, what's his ethnicity? I'm assuming that he's not Black American, but I don't know. Devarian Baldwin is his name. He's an urban historian and cultural critic. Urban historian is kind of crazy. So I want to show that clip because this topic, Devorian sounds ethnic. Probably, I'm sure he's probably Caribbean, but maybe not though. His last name is Baldwin, so I don't know. So people were talking about that and the disconnect that the academics feel they have towards the community because people ain't trying to hear what they're talking about. I mean, the second you start hearing stuff like patriarchy and all the other stuff. And I'm here to talk about the condition of black people. A lot of people immediately disconnect and they like, look, man, that ain't what we talking about. I'll see you later. So then I want to show up this. These dudes, Daily Wrap Up Crew, shout out to them. They always find some way to end up in some back and forth with one of these Caribbeans or whatever. I want to show this clip right here.
The reason why Africans have this negative connotation on African Americans is because of the stereotypes, what they're seeing on TV. For an example, my mom, she's American. I don't know what part of Africa she was from. My dad, he's Ghanaian.
She's American, like.
But at the end of the day,
I don't know. They're American.
But,
you wouldn't say that to a Jamaican.
But they're African American, though.
Would you say a Jamaican don't know what part of Africa he's from?
Jamaicans are Caribbean, so they already have their own. Like,
would you say he don't know what part of Africa he's
but
from?
He know where he comes from. He comes from Jamaica.
A Jamaica is from Jamaica, right?
Yes.
An American is from where?
An African American is from Africa and America.
And this is why that term is confusing, is which I hear people just say Black Americans now, because we try to do the right thing and at least acknowledge our ancestry. You don't see a Haitian saying I'm African Haitian or a Jamaican saying I'm African. We try to do the right thing and acknowledge our ancestry, and now it's being used. Well, what part? Like, no, just for that, we just Black Americans now. Like, fuck all that African American shit, bro. We Black Americans now.
I do find it strange. She's playing stupid. I keep seeing people, and I've seen this years ago, where Caribbean people who are born in Caribbean countries, they view the islands as the root of their ancestry. They acknowledge Africa, but they still view being from Trinidad is enough. I don't need to know my ancestry back to Africa. But because they view America as a white country, when a Black American or African American say that they are American, they can't connect with that. They don't think that's real. They think you're trying to identify with white people. Then they get here and they call what your culture is pop culture, because what your culture is so ingrained in society that they don't even acknowledge it as yours. They view it as pop culture. The way you talk, the way your food you eat, everything. They don't even acknowledge it truly connected to you. It's just what's popular. It's always crazy to me. Virginia says, the irony is this conversation for me is how hard Black Americans connect with that to Africa, but Africans do not connect to Black Americans. Crazy. Yeah, Arnold says culture to these people is anyone from third world country that disqualifies us. F them. You know, I said my opinion is they don't view anything. Culture is traditional, some type of traditional garb or clothing and dancing outside. Like if you don't have some type of tradition that involves those two things that you do celebratory every year or something, they don't consider what you have a culture. Outside of that, I don't see anything that's just so separating to me.
Grew up most of my life in.
And let me show this here.
It seemed like for years I was being schooled carefully to say African American. Now it's gone back to Black. I'm fine with either. Black, is that okay?
I think it's a personal
Eating with your hands.
Some Black people, if you call them African American, they are insulted.
Because they may
but
not be
then you
African.
have Raven Simone, who doesn't want to be called African American at all, and she wants to be known just as Black, and she's from every continent in Africa and doesn't know what she wants to be called. So I think it really is personal preference. For me, I'm Black. You don't have to get so technical. You're not stepping on toes if you don't say African American.
There's a little murmuring through the audience.
Black.
Show of audience. Is it Black? It's just for me. I need to straighten myself out. You guys got to help me. I got to start with this at least, for goodness sake.
Well, I think it's simple, Dr. Drew. So my parents are from Nigeria, right? I grew up most of my life here in the United States. I consider myself African American. I still speak the language. My relatives, grandparents, everybody is back in Nigeria. So I don't have a problem saying I'm African American. What I would say to all Black Americans are, you can trace your lineage back further than a lot of white people who came over during Ellis Island and are immigrants.
Dr. Drew, it's simple. President Barack Obama is African American. His beautiful wife, our first lady, is Black American. Like this brother here, President Obama can trace his family back to Kenya.
Yeah.
Black American is a cultural thing. Right. If your ancestry ain't been through what the hell our people been through, you ain't like this brother ain't one of us. We're not
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Obama is African American. His beautiful wife, our first lady, is Black American. Like this brother here, President Obama can trace his family back to Kenya.
Yeah.
Black American, it's a cultural thing. Right. If your ancestry ain't been through what the hell a lot of people been through, you ain't like this brother ain't one of us. We're not saying.
Damn. Virginia says, you know your people, this isn't rocket science, and clearly Black Americans identify skin color as their own across the globe. The globe, however, says you're American. Keep says, it's the way they say black. Yeah, they said, it comes off the tongue so disgusting. Black. Honorable, look at the man. Look at you. Look at the man. But the woman said it too. A woman sat right there and said she's black. She's not African American. So you look at the women too, Honorable.
It's a cultural thing. Right. If your ancestry ain't been through what the hell a lot of people been through, you ain't like this brother ain't one of us. We're not saying we're not, but culturally you're not one of us. I know what you were getting at. Okay, thank you. Right. Your folks ain't been, Barack Obama folks ain't been through what our people went through. Michelle, that's a sister. Right. And we'll tear this place up about her.
And we'll tear this place up about her.
Clarifying for me. I didn't get that distinction. And the gentleman said it perfectly. If my people haven't been through what your people have been through, and I'm here, it would be a shame for me to try and glom on or, oh, you know what, we had.
They got a word for you now. Tether.
Really bad 400 years ago. No, we did not. What I would like to say, and this goes to all Black people watching and in attendance, be proud of who you are. When you trace yourself back to Texas, to Alabama, to South Carolina, North Carolina, and what those people overcame, so Barack Obama could be a president. That's right. That is amazing. Okay. Me being here with my passport is great, but it's only because other people died to make that possible.
All right, Virginia says, trace your lineage, your genealogy, and you'll know who your people are. I said, she a goofy too. Well, acknowledge her too, then. You can't just say, look at the man. She did it too. Oh, brother made sure he separate. He cut through all the malarkey. He let it be known how to get. Look, he ain't one of us. It is what it is. He kept it thorough with him. All right, let me show this next one here.
Black Brits refuse to accept that Black Americans are not.
Now, this is still lingering from the soul food conversation where you have people saying in the Caribbean countries, the islands, that they have their own version of soul food, and same thing throughout West Africa.
Immigrants. That's why when she said, oh, we have our own version of soul food too, she went off and listed a bunch of African and predominantly Black countries. Because soul food, to them, they've decided it means food that Black people eat, completely stripping it of its history. They feel to give Black Americans ownership over the cuisine that they created would be like exalting them in some way.
And they can't, any form of separation is demeaning them.
That they created would be like exalting them in some way. Like it's a competition? I don't know. Well, girl, if it was a competition, you're lucky it's not a competition. Soul food is not just the types of food that Black people eat. And no one is going to allow you to bastardize it in such a way. It's so disrespectful. It's so fucking disrespectful. Why don't Africans in America have a hard time wrapping their mind around this? The fact that Black Americans aren't immigrants. I, as an Ethiopian, it never confused me, the concept. I did the math and I was like 1,400. So 700. I think this is their shit.
Jen says, I never noticed prior to how light Rhonda Watts is. Her father passed for white if he wanted to. All right, I'm gonna run through these now. This is one. Ow. Hold on, y'all. All right. The hell? Shout out to Mark. I'm gonna play this one. Mark sent a few that I gotta play. Oh, Rhoda Mars was in the first video with Dr. Drew. Oh, okay. The woman in the middle. You talking about? That's what you're talking about? I'm not familiar with her, I don't think. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Like on the leg. All right. All right. Let me play this right quick.
Nigeria, you have all the natural resources that we don't have. We envy you so much. Because Taiwan is an island, around 5 to 6 times larger than Lagos State, but we have no natural resources at all.
Jen says she was in the audience and she used to have her own talk show in the 90s. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
But we have all the natural disasters that you don't have. Earthquake, volcano, typhoon, tsunami. You have nothing here. We have all of them. But we have nothing but only the brain power. So that's why we have to explain how Taiwan developed ourselves into the best technology of the world that we're holding now, because it's based on the instinct of survival. We have nothing in our island but full of natural disasters. So the only thing we can do is to invest in a generation of education to build up our workforce continuously. And up to now, we can proudly say that our illiteracy in Taiwan is less than 2%.
So when Mark sent me this, it pointed out that this Asian dude pretty much just took all this time to softly and nicely tell them that you have the resources, but you don't. And that we actually decided to build ourselves up through our intelligence while you guys haven't been able to do the same thing. As the dude says, they're telling the people to have all the resources in the world, but you're too dumb to control it and use it, nasty work. And the people who are too smart with no natural and land resources are still focusing on maximizing their population's intelligence, waiting for opportunities. Jenny says they always play the music frequency for sympathy and empathy. Yeah. Let me play this one. I'm gonna run through a few more. I'm gonna skip this one. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. Hold on. Oh yeah, I saw this. This person right here says a Latina sorority decided to highlight Solon for Black History Month. Cinco de Mayo about to be lit this year. He did say that later they clarified that they're a multicultural sorority. This is the group here, and you know they look like some Asians. But the bigger thing I want to show, this right here. So there's a video that went viral. The video went viral as a young lady, I believe she's Trinidadian. This is her dancing at some festival, whatever. Dude recorded her. People think she's an attractive young lady. She goes viral. And the dude is pointing out that he didn't know there were so many Indians in Caribbean countries. He said, it's wild to me how Queens so Indian. They got a neighborhood for the Indians and another for the Caribbean Indians. So it shouldn't be a big deal. Video got, 67 million views. And the biggest thing that came from it, people were saying how much they didn't realize how many Indians live in these countries. And of course, that led to some variation of a diaspora war. And a woman made this comment right here, which it says, Black Americans now finding out about Indo-Caribbean people is just a little face. Y'all really been hoodwinked by that joke of an education system. I don't know how everything that happens lends to Black Americans getting some level of disrespect, some comment from these people. I just don't get it. And then somebody went on to say how, hey, there's stuff that other countries don't know about America. Is that fair? And they understand that. But if Black Americans don't know the entire existence of everybody else's culture, then it's because our education is lacking. And the question became, why the hell would I, in America, in Memphis, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, why the hell would I know about Indo-Caribbean people? Why would I care? Why would I be a part of any education I'm getting? Why would I give a damn about this? So then a whole bunch of back and forth happens. I'm not going to read too much into it. Virginia says, well, she ain't lying about being hoodwinked by the education system, but otherwise, shut up, heifer. Agreed. No one's saying that America's education is the greatest. The point being, what the hell does us learning about Indo-Caribbean people have to do with that education? And there's one more, I want to show one more comment. Somebody said, This is a Haitian woman. She said, y'all need to find an identity outside of hating Black Americans. It's stale. Black immigrants aren't any more knowledgeable about nuances of Black America, but y'all expect people to know everything about a region they aren't from as if it's realistic. Just the banter that has been created, and I want to say it's a social media thing, but I don't believe so because I've seen people comment on their experiences on college campuses, as we talked about academia earlier. How there's always this desire to quote unquote humble Black Americans or try and critique them for not being just all knowledgeable about their entire culture. And what it really comes down to is the fact that they feel like they know so much about yours through television and internet because they were, according to them, they were forced to watch your TV shows in the 90s and 80s and early 2000s. They were forced to learn about the history of your civil rights leaders and stuff like that. Because they know as much as they do about you, they feel slighted that you don't know anything about them. When what they know about you ain't got nothing to do with them learning that. You ain't got nothing to do with that. That has nothing to do with me, you knowing about our quote unquote leadership in history. Talk about yours. Jenny said, yep, it works both ways. Honorable says no, that will only reveal they don't have culture in the Caribbean and Indian shit they adopted. That's the big problem. The more I do watch, especially when I look at these traveling videos, I like to look at traveling videos where people go to other countries and experience the culture and stuff. And it amazes me, especially talk about Trinidad, Grenada, Jamaica, Haiti, and a lot of these other countries, how a lot of the food and culture they've gained are from India, Asian countries, some of these Arab countries, the Mediterranean. Like a lot of the stuff they call their culture is kind of mixed with other people. Like that's why they have that whole saying of out of one come many or something like that. I keep saying that's the problem with New York, because in New York they have this mixture of all these people from all the Caribbean and African countries, that you have a woman who's Indian. She's Indian, but she's from Trinidad. She has access to quote unquote Black culture the same way a person who's quote unquote Afro-Trinidadian from Trinidad. So there's no separation because they view we both from Trinidad, we both the same. So now you got a Black American in New York allowing Indians, Asians, and all these other groups calling them nigga, referring to them as this word because they share the same nationality, they treat that as race. And Black Americans in New York, a lot of them at least, have adopted that up there. We're going to say, yeah, it's fascinating to go from point A to where we're now. Yeah, it's fascinating to go from point A to where we are now and realizing that they're not like us, all the chaos that comes with that knowledge. Yeah, speaking of haters, though, let me show this video.
18-year-old Latrell Taft beyond excited to wear his new birthday present to school on Tuesday, a t-shirt reading Black King.
I'm a king because I think I'm a king.
But Latrell says during science class at Heartland Middle School, his teacher abruptly changing the subject from the periodic table to asking what his shirt said.
She said that if she had a shirt that said white queen, it would have been racist. Then after that's when she said, like, we need a White History Month. And I said, Black people don't have enough recognition, and we barely learn about Black people, like, in February at my school, so.
Latrell telling News 4 the majority of his class siding with the teacher.
And I was like,
I'm sorry. That part made me laugh. So the teacher is on him about wearing a Black King t-shirt, and the class started agreeing with the teacher. It kind of tell me what the classroom is, more than likely. But the fact that the class, the students are ganging up on him about a t-shirt with the teacher is just crazy.
Latrell's mom, Melissa Shirley, immediately calling the school.
Initially, to be honest, I was brushed off.
24 hours later, an investigation underway. EPS releasing a statement to News 4 saying, if it's determined that the student was the target of discrimination, bullying, or racism, appropriate and swift action will be taken.
All he wore was a damn t-shirt to school. Anonymous says, our problem with modern day New York is a mixture of people from failed people groups mixed together. Yeah, I saw, and on that post about the Indo-Caribbean woman, I saw a lot of the New Yorkers in particular, they were pointing out, oh, we know about this because we're surrounded by them. It's like, look, that's like 3 states in this country that have a big population of Caribbean people. Like, that ain't the norm in this country. I think because there's such a big deal in these big metropolitan cities with these big states, these high populations, that they think they have more. They think they're more prominent than they are in the country. Like, I could never hear about y'all, and it wouldn't affect me because I don't live around you. Like, it is what it is. Speaking of that, though, I want to show this quick article. Representative Ilhan Omar and Yvette D. Clarke sound the alarm on injustice faced by Black immigrants. And I'm going to scroll down this little part right here. Throughout our history, the experience of Black immigrants in the United States has been marked by dualities of hope and pain, of promise and violence, of extraordinary opportunity and extreme isolation. While grappling with our history, we must build a future that embraces the complexity. It means understanding that both versions of stories of millions of Black people in this country, the stories marked by triumph and success and those marked by tragedy and agony, are equally true. This has been the case since the first millions of Black immigrants, enslaved people, were brought to this country against their will, kidnapped, shackled, and imported as labor and property. It has been subsequent groups of Black people. It has been true as subsequent groups of Black people from the Caribbean to Latin America, from every country in Africa, has arrived here over the centuries. This constant attempt to call Black Americans immigrants, they did it again. And we just heard the other Ethiopian woman say that a lot of people from these other countries, they can't fathom that Black Americans in this, they're not immigrants. They've been here for 700, they've been here. They're not immigrants. They are American. Adam says that's true. They've been convinced Black Americans that Caribbeans outnumber them in New York, which isn't true. Not even close. I was so shocked that I've seen Black Americans in New York almost hide the fact that they're Black American. I remember I saw there was a guy he was bi-ethnic. He had a Jamaican parent and he had a Black American parent. And in all his videos, he would constantly point out his Jamaicanness. I'm Jamaican. But it wasn't until he got around a Black American dude who pointed out he was Black American that he finally acknowledged his Black American side. Like in New York, Black American is seen as default. It's seen as standard, normal. You're not exotic. And I wonder how much that plays into the dating scene in New York. When the idea of being Black American is kind of seen as shoulder pump, like, okay, you're not exotic, you're not different. Even that viral clip of that streamer Casanat, when he was talking crazy, he made sure to say, you're just Black American. You're not Haitian, you're not Trinidadian, you're not Jamaican, you're just Black. So I think that probably plays a part in all that. Now I want to show this too. Put out on this. For decades, a doctor refused to charge patients who couldn't pay. When he couldn't pay, his patients came to his aid. I'm not going to read the whole story, but as a doctor, Black doctor, he's 66 years old. He was giving free treatments to his patients over the years. And now in his later years, he's having health problems. And those same patients, those people in that city, are now paying for his health bills. And what I got from that is, how the hell does a doctor need people to help pay his medical bills? This country is on so much BS that a doctor can't afford health care. That's who we are in America. But shout out to him. Hopefully he gets healthy. He gets the help he needs. It's unfortunate that he needs his patients to help him with his medical bills, but it is. I met her on the third night in Chicago. Oh, sorry. It's not for now. Let me play this right here. Let me show the story. All right. Lil Ronnie's baby mother not tripping over daughter's death because she'll be buried in Gucci. So I'm pretty sure y'all, this story happened a little while ago. I didn't get to talk about it last week, but there's a story, rapper gunned down along with his 5-year-old daughter. She was in a car with him. He tried to run from the car to get away from the gunshots. They continued to shoot, and then they shot up the car, which killed his daughter. Tragic situation that happened. As we talked about, the violence is unnecessary. And the street code is pretty much dead. People talk about the streets being dead because you see more people because of the internet snitching, or it's been exposed, should I say. But streets been dead when you got kids that's targeted with the adults. That there's no way, there's no separation between the elderly and the kids. Everybody's a target now. Virginia says, crazy that just Black American is off-putting to some, but I am African European, South American, Australian, Asian with some skin tone is acceptable. Yeah. But this story right here, past the idea of the murder that happened to him and his daughter, and people wanting justice, people getting the uproar when these people who are out here doing these killings, when they kill a kid, an innocent child, but we shouldn't want anybody getting killed like this, and it should always be a big uproar with one murder rather than just sometimes. So I won't say it's fake outrage, but it seems to be in spot chances. But past that, the story that began to come around from this was the mother's reaction. After the shooting and the funeral, the mother seemed to be, and she showed emotions that people didn't expect, considering she just lost the father of her kid, and she lost a kid and the father of her kid. So I'm gonna show this right here. See, somebody said, Lil Ronnie's baby mother is facing backlash for allegedly downplaying her 5-year-old's death, flexing with money and clout instead.
Yeah, security on deck. Yeah.
This is the mother.
Yeah, blog this hoe.
And I wanted to bring something up after this.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I grieve a little different, y'all. Y'all took my baby, but I'm not motherfucking tripping on that shit, bitch. Bitch, he give him and he take him. Bitch, we all gotta die around this bitch. I ain't fucked up about it. I fucked up about how she left around this bitch, but I ain't fucked up about it. Fuck you talking about, bitch. Cause y'all know, y'all wasn't fucking with my baby around this bitch. And she going out this bitch and style Gucci everything. Fuck you talking about. Yeah. Bitch, and her baby daddy gonna be proud of everything, nigga. Shout out to Petey, fuck you talking about. The Three Stooges. Nigga, James Carroll, nigga, the tax man.
So, and somebody pointed out right here, grief hits people differently. Craig said, Black girl magic in times of tragedy, shake my head. And Alma says, I'm always shocked that people are shocked. These people in these environments, survival looks different. Alma says, backlash for what? These content creators needs engagement, nothing more is happening. In New Orleans, where the backlash or understood. She says, not like us. I agree that certain environments, death becomes normal, and it's unfortunate. If you're in an environment where death is normal, especially when you talk about tragic deaths like this, then yeah, you can see people react differently when it happens. It reminded me, and it accidentally played for a second. I want to play like 30 seconds of this song by Kendrick Lamar, where he pretty much spoke on the idea of grief. The song is called Not United, because that was a song, or the album, should I say, that was Mr. Around the Big Steps, where he acknowledged his infidelity and stuff. And people react differently based off the environments they come from. High level of violence, poverty. When death happens, people tend to heal themselves through materialism. Whether it's buying, like as he said on that song, he bought property, watches, cars, and he had a lot of sex. And that's kind of what you see in that video there, not the sexual aspect, but money and materialism when you have nothing and you gain something, that becomes what you think at least will heal you of everything. But unfortunately, with time, those people learn that those things don't heal. It's only a Band-Aid, and it'll leave them empty in the end. So rest in peace to her kids. Although people are judging her reaction now, hopefully her grief don't completely consume her. But anyway, but I want to play this too, based off of this situation.
I was about it. What everybody did to you. The mama didn't do nothing to you. That lady go to work every day. She don't know what her son out here doing. That lady don't want no problems with you. That lady probably want to talk to you before you can stop going through it with her son. This little girl in her room playing her video game or in there doing TikToks, and you shoot through the house looking for the brother or the cousin or the uncle or the daddy, and you kill this little girl. And all she wanted to do was TikTok and dance. She liked to dance. Her birthday was coming up. Christmas around the corner. Niggas don't use their head. That shit ain't real niggas, bro. Them niggas. Niggas do shit like that and shoot up houses, bro. And I don't give a how nobody take it, bro. If you done shot up a house before and you on here, bro, you. I don't give a Go get the nigga that did something to you. That shit real, bro. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Cause I swear to God on my life, bro, on God, bro, and I'm being dead serious. This shit got me about to cry, bro, on God. A nigga me, bro. I ain't finna shoot up your house. I don't give a fuck if I know where your mama stay at, bro. Your little sister in the yard, bro. That little girl life is precious as fuck to her right now, bro. She don't got no bills or nothing right now. And then got shoot up a whole yard with kids and that shit. Call theyself a real nigga or a stepper. You niggas ain't steppers. That shit don't be cool. That shit ain't stepping. Stepping is, you gotta understand what stepping is. You gonna step on nigga what's trying to step on you. You gonna step. You gonna tiptoe. That what stepping is. That what the fuck stepping is. You ain't stepping. You done shot out these people's house. What if that was your mama, your little sister? And I look at that shit, dog, and I pray, why you think I stay out of so much shit, dog? Because stay out of situation and avoid that shit, bro. I don't give a damn, bro. It ain't about that shit, bro. You want to go far in life, bro. It's more out there than the streets, than the gun, than sitting at the trap all fucking day, sitting in the hood all day, bro. Come on, bro. That shit, no, you want a family, bro. You want somebody, a daughter, bro. You want to be there for your son. I ain't just talking to my cousin. I'm talking to everybody, bro. I'm just being real. If your homeboys don't want to fuck with you because you ain't into the shit they into, them ain't your homeboys.
Facts. He said, rest in peace to her child and her. Rest in peace. All right, let me show this now. Yeah, he has a lot of wisdom.
If you notice that every country that has the death penalty has no drug problem, they execute drug dealers. And when you think about it, it's very humane because every drug dealer on average, they say, kills at least 500 people, not to mention the damage they do to so many others, but they kill large numbers of people. China, Singapore, actually, there are quite a few, many in Asia, where they have the death penalty. There's no drug problem whatsoever. They come to our country because we have a much softer policy. We give them a slap on the wrist and say, kill a lot of people. So we are going to, I don't know if our country is ready for it. I am ready for it, the death penalty if you deal drugs. You know, you have to set out guidelines like fairly large numbers, et cetera. But you'll have it go down very greatly.
So now they got Trump asking for the death penalty for drug dealers. I will say, if he would have proposed something like that in the 80s, it probably would have went through very quickly. How drug dealers are viewed now versus 30 years ago is totally different. And it happened, I think I talked about this already, it happened with the hip hop 90s era, the Jayz and all those people, where they thought they were just rapping about their life and the things they've been through, but it ended up becoming something that people thought was a way to transition. I'm gonna start as a drug dealer and then I'll flip it into something. Drug man is willing to go into the neighborhood and sell drugs to a mom, a father, daughters and sons, and destroyed the hustler because he has the car, he has the jewelry, he has the home now, and now he has a business that's legitimate, so we can respect him. Let me show this one too.
End of the generation of a generational thought process, because I said for me, the first sellout in the hood is the drug dealer, and people don't look at it that way. And
expound on that.
The first sellout is a drug dealer because I'm just trying to feed my family is not an answer for you to be able to kill my family. You can't kill my family because you're trying to feed your family. So you're the first sellout, and we co-sign that and be cool. It's like he's just trying to eat. He's not just trying to eat. He's killing your family while he's trying to eat. You're creating a climate that makes black on black the worst thing on the planet. You're killing black people trying to make a living. And the oppressor is absolutely loving that. And I said they love a drug dealer. Your colonizer loves a drug dealer because you're killing your people to feed yourself.
President, so is Hunter Biden's crack plug getting the death penalty? Well, see, that's the thing. Normally, when they speak on drug dealers, they really, it's code for who they're really talking about. Now we're going to criminalize cocaine. They'll criminalize crack. They'll go after the people that sell the pills, heroin, and what's the other one now? Another thing the thing that's killing them now, I forgot the name of it. Damn. That's the main people they're going to go for. Now, even though Hunter Biden smoked crack too, they'll make sure they're careful with who's the people that get hit with this. It won't be sweeping. They'll be very careful. Let me see. The first sellout in the hood is your pastor and preachers for the reason he lists. Black drug dealers don't access to politicians. That's not true. Drug dealers finance campaigns. That is not true. Drug dealers are the ones who put the money in the pocket of the police long before they made it a public thing that it was being done. Drug dealers absolutely funded political campaigns for mayors and all type of politicians. Virginia says government and DEA are the biggest drug dealers and suppliers, so if they ain't killed, let's too then come on, man. That's why I said it's not going to be sweeping. When he says we want to get rid of drug dealers, he meant he's trying to tie that to the gang members. That's the real thing they're targeting. Even when they go after like cartel, these organizations, they're including black gangs as well, which is why they've told you in a few states that it's considered a terrorist organization. So they're trying to be more like, what's that? Is it Colombia? Or one of those South American countries that we talked about before, where they zero tolerance, zero. Anonymous says, name the real black in the 2000s, not early 1900s, that's funding politicians. In the 2000s? Well, how many campaigns do you think Big Meats funded? You think Big Meats was only pushing rappers? You don't think no politician, local politician asked for any money, any backing to be put in their coffers? So when you talk about these big wigs, what's his name? Freeway, the real Freeway, the real one, Freeway Rick Ross. You don't think he put any money in one of those politicians' pockets to get some type of a standing there? So yes, a lot of these people put money in politicians' pockets. I won't say as I don't think they have as much. I'll agree with you. They don't have as much contact and influence as the pastors in the church, but they have influence as well. Let's skip this too. What we got? Oh, this story got serious out of nowhere. Dad of honored cancer survivor DJ Daniel says he was offered cash to leave Spotlight. I saw this on my timeline. I didn't take it serious. I didn't think nothing was coming from it. It was initially this video. It was initially the video of him on the street in front of a group of people. It was black people, and they were laughing at him because he was dressed in his security guard, his police uniform, and I think he's 14 years old, 13, 14 years old. Ain't much of it, but it turned into a big deal, and he ended up at the White House. And then people started calling this little boy he's being used as a tool. A lot of people on the internet was very, very harsh to him, and now the right wingers became super put the flip over him and came to his defense. He's a little kid, and it kind of went left. Honorable says, Big Meech, LOL. If Big Meech was funding politicians he need to call in his favor now because he out here looking bad compared to Italians and other groups. This answer is none. Well, you can't really say that. Plenty of Italians that was giving money to politicians ended up in prison, snitched, and now they broke on podcasts. There are Italian mobsters that are doing podcasts now. So what's the difference between them and Big Meech? They was at the top, they fell, and now they regular civilians. Virginia says, we'd be surprised to learn who is greasing their pockets since wealth class uses their fiat to control the political arena. Yeah. Hell, when we think drug dealer, we think of the street dude that's moving weight, but who do you think he was getting his large sums of drugs from? Some Colombian connect? Well, who do you think that Colombian connect was getting his from? So at the end of it, when you really, as Regina said earlier, when you start getting to the real drug dealers, it's really these alphabet organizations, CIA, DEA, CIA, FBI. They're the ones that's really putting the work in to move stuff from Iraq, Afghanistan, these cocoa plants or whatever, and then moving it over. Vietnam, another one they was using, moving it over to South America to be processed, and then bagging it up and selling it to some dealer in America to push it through the streets. I don't say get Meech a mic he needed. Regina says, wonder how much Ben Crump provides. Maybe Jay-Z. Hey, that's all I'm saying. Jay-Z, yeah, he used to Jay-Z is a weird case because as much as he says he was moving drugs and he gives accounts where he was a drug dealer, there's a lot of people that think that he's always been kind of lying about that, and that his connects now are tied to these alphabet organizations in government, where I think the person who leads his company is a former snitch, basically. She worked with the authorities. Let me play this video right quick.
Honor to have met you.
Hold up, I got one more thing to say.
He has one more thing to say. I won't interrupt you.
If you're a Democrat and you're being mean to President Trump, I'm on your bumper.
I think people should really keep their kids out of politics. Politics is a snake. It's a snake's pit. It's mean. So you brought your son to the White House to meet Trump, whatever. Your son makes comments like this, and you're surprised, and this is politics now, and you're surprised your son is now getting joked on or things have been said about your son. I think the Breakfast Club got a lot of backlash because they made some comments about this little dude. Like, look, once you step into the political arena and you become you do say something like this publicly and get this large of a platform, like, things gonna get said. So I blame his father or his parents for putting him in a position to use him to be used as a political ploy. There's no reason you should have put your son in this position. Regina says lots of these folks spy prize. Prize. Yep. Honorable says we as Black people have to acknowledge the narratives we buy into. Things like all drug dealers are smart and have access to politicians needs to be at the top of the list. No. I know plenty of drug dealers that sold drugs to buy drugs to sell. they like the old joke. They weren't drug dealers. They just like the lifestyle. I know plenty of dudes that made enough money to re-up. That's it. They sold some weed. They made enough money to buy more weed to sell. So a lot of these dudes is not stacking their money and making, millions of dollars and know how to operate a whole business. No. But so yeah, I understand. Nobody is saying that every drug dealer has access to politicians. I'm saying when you're pulling in millions of dollars a month without being that smart, you're going to have politicians come to you and ask you, well, you're making $10 million. We're not even going to say no real big number. If you can generate $1 million a month, people going to know. The police know you're a drug dealer. The problem is they have to prove it in court. This is why it turns into a RICO where they have to tap phones and stuff. When people know you're making $1 million a month, it's not just people that's in the criminal world going to be asking for handouts or nothing. People on the other side of the aisle going to be asking for money as well. There are plenty of politicians that have been using dirty money their entire political career. Biden. I'm pretty sure if you look at the books of all these politicians, you go back to Bush, Obama, these people get money from people that they wouldn't want it public. We'll just say that. Regina says, agree, keep the babies out of the snake pit. 2-parent household. Regina said, I like the point Anthony Mackie made. You are chosen at their various levels in life. Exactly. So, all right, I like looking at this video. It's not going to show. This video actually made me angry. This is the video in Cali, SoCal. Activists call for students' arrest after video shows him knocking girl unconscious in SoCal school. I'm not going to show the video because it really did piss me off. So him and this Mexican kid and the black girl are like wrestling. And in the midst of that, he takes her head and slams it against the desk, knocking her unconscious. After the video went viral, people obviously were pointing out that most of the class seemed to be Mexicans, and she's seemed like the only black person in the class. I don't know if that's true or not. That led to people finding out that apparently the reason why they were tussling is because the girl hit him in the head with something metal. And then more information came out, allegedly, that he was squirting a bottle or something on her or something like that. And she reacted to that by throwing a bottle at him, now metal pipe. They got into a tussle. He knocks her unconscious. I'm just like, bruh. it really to see no one in the class react, and I think this is high school, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just see right quick. Let me see this. Activists have called for the arrest of Vitalo a unified school district student who was observed on video slamming girl's head into a desk and knocking her unconscious. Civil rights activist Naji Ali, senior organizer of the Los Angeles Metropolitan Churches, and a coalition of parents and civil rights leaders are demanding the immediate suspension and arrest of a white male student who used racial slurs and viciously assaulted and knocked unconscious an African-American female classmate. The N-word, racial slurs, and attack against African-American female child by this white male student will not go unchallenged. We're demanding that Jehu Middle School, Principal Carolyn Eade suspend this student immediately for his racial assault on his classmate. The school is located in the city of Carlton, but is a part of a unified school district. The video assault of this African-American child is horrific. She was knocked unconscious by the white man. We know. Okay, we get it. Ali is calling for we get it. Honorable says these people come online every day saying they have amazing black and brown relations. I don't know. Yeah, that was extreme. She was knocked unconscious and there was just no reaction. The entire room was just laughs. Although once again, it's middle school, people that don't got fully developed brains or whatever. But it should have been an open and cut situation. There should obviously be a suspension. But damn. Yeah, it was I couldn't watch that video. I haven't seen the update quite yet. Like I said, they were saying that she hit him with something first, but then I seen something that say no, he was bothering and picking with her. We shall see. We shall see. Another case of as Honorable said, the Black and Brown Coalition. All right, let me show this. This is how it should be handled.
Safety and watch program.
It's a duty. Okay, let's go.
The duty, protecting their neighborhood, the majority black village of Lincoln Heights, Ohio.
Ain't nobody scared of you.
After neo-Nazis held a rally here last month, carrying rifles, waving swastikas, and hurling racial slurs, just moments before children were let out of school. At the time, law enforcement officials said the neo-Nazis did not break any laws, but an investigation by county prosecutors is ongoing. Weeks later, the KKK came with these flyers.
First African-American community above the Mason-Dixon line of
Safety and Watch Group spokesperson Durrance Daniels says the police did not do enough, which was more chilling because the town was founded in the 1920s as a safe haven for black residents.
Lincoln Heights is our home. If somebody broke into your home, you call the police, and the police says, if they do it again, we haven't broken any law, so we're just going to allow them to break into your home again. What would you do?
Are you worried at all that having a potentially armed response could just create more friction, create more danger?
Rather get caught with it than without it.
I'll answer that by saying I've never felt safer as a black man in my community than I have right now.
Keeper says feds. Definitely feds. They want me to believe that a group of Caucasian men dressed in masks and all these swastikas and stuff is riding around in U-Hauls, pulling up on bridges and in neighborhoods, walking around with bullhorns, sprouting this KKK nonsense in public. You want me to believe that they're Now, I do believe that there is in this country, and I keep saying there's a fall of the white male image. So that's real. There is this sense of detachment that the white male is starting to have towards America and feeling like it's not his country anymore. But no, I do not believe that there are real, normal, everyday people doing that. That is clearly some type of a program they're putting together to push more racial strife or whatever. And I'm gonna show it later with Ben Shapiro and that dumb shit he said. What's another thing? I ain't gotta go too deep into this story. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. People says they are the Kevins in the parking lot and grocery store. Yeah. All right. High school track runner charged after hitting opponent in head with baton during race. Let me fast forward to, let me show the video.
Those with Robinhood Gold can enjoy a 3% IRA match. Tremendous.
Tonight, a family is looking for an apology after they say their daughter was attacked in the middle of a track meet. Tonight, 10 News reporter Jason Freund spoke with the family about the alleged incident.
When Caitlin Tucker first wanted to start,
definitely intentional keeper.
Were naturally proud.
She started in 8th grade, but originally she went in 7th grade, and she said it was too much running and she quit. So she ended up going back and doing it again in 8th grade, and she only wanted to do sprints.
Fast forward to her junior year of high school, and she found herself running in the Class 3 state finals for Brookville High School. But nobody could have seen this coming.
When you get on the other side of the track, you have to cross into lane 1, you have to merge in. And as I was coming up on her, she kind of like made me
mouth getting dry because she lying.
Like get cut off a little bit, so I backed away. And then as we got around the curve, she kept bumping me in my arm. And then finally when we got off the curve, I like slowly started passing her, and then that's when she just hit me with the baton and I fell off the track.
Caitlin ran off the track and her mother ran onto it. Team trainers came to her aid, and the opposing school, IC Norcom, was quickly disqualified. But the damage had already been done.
I could feel like a headache coming up. So I just set out. But I recently went to the doctor and they prescribed me with a concussion and a possible fractured skull.
Now her parents are looking for an apology. They've got one already from the IC Norcom athletic director and the opposing athlete's parents. Now they just want one from the coach and the opposing athlete herself.
They were beside us at the event.
The fact that she had, how hard is it to just say I'm sorry? They're not asking for no finance. They literally just say sorry. And I'm gonna show what she said later. Then it said disagree with the self-hating Hodge twins, but agree with them. Apologize, take accountability, and move on. It should be simple. I don't know, are you a runner, Kiefer? The story turned into an ethnicity witch hunt. Yeah, they started. Yeah, it definitely did. It turned into who is who because this don't make sense. These are two black people. Why is the NAACP getting involved and defending one against the other? What's going on? Kiefer said yes. I ran track in high school all 4 years.
They were watching the video at the event, but no one apologized or came to check on her. Even
I keep it 100 4x1 and long jump athlete. All right, hasn't she been charged with something? Well, in this, she was. I'll just read the first paragraph. It says, sorry. A Virginia sprinter has been charged with misdemeanor assault and battery after a viral video showed her hitting a fellow runner with a baton during a relay race. So it's not a big, it's just a misdemeanor. Literally an apology, maybe some community service, and she move on with her life. But instead, NAACP backs high school runner who bashed competitor in head with baton. NAACP rallying tracks receiving end of criminal charges after she smashed the competitor in the head with a baton in the middle of the state championship 4x200 meter relay race. Let me play this right quick.
We stand with you. That's why we here. We stand with you.
Come on, man.
Thank y'all for supporting me. And people that know I would never do anything like that. I would never harm anybody. I'm not a fighter. I'm not even confrontational. I wouldn't even do that on purpose. And I thank y'all for believing in me. And I love y'all.
Bro, what the hell are we doing? Just say sorry. It's not even about intent. You could just say, I'm sorry, it was an accident. And just move on. Why are you trying to make yourself the victim in the situation? I remember in another interview she did, she said, I know she got hit in the head and stuff, but what about me? What about how I'm feeling? It's like, wait, what? That wasn't. Says all the running experts I've seen said she did. I don't know enough. He said when you run with a baton in tight. Jenna said this is the black version of Nancy Kerrigan's story. Taking sides is nasty work. Yeah, that's the craziest part. Why would the NAACP come out and like what are we doing here? Keeper says she's also a decorated runner. She knows better. This has never happened in relays before. Yeah, it seemed like the girl and her were fighting for position. She got passed up, and in frustration, she hit her in frustration. Because when she hit her, it wasn't a situation where she kept running while swinging her arm. She was already stopping. She was slowing down in the midst of swinging it because she knew she was about to stop. She knew she was about to hit her. So it was intentional. But yeah. I don't even gonna stay on that story long. That was just crazy. It shouldn't even be a story. Just apologize and move on. Why are you trying to make it seem like somebody's trying to come after you? It's a witch hunt for you. It's on video. We have eyes. We saw it. Irony. Both were losing to another. That's the crazy part. They weren't even going for first place. It wasn't even for first place. People say it's the wind up. Yeah, she said that. Well, she's saying that her the baton was on her back, the other girl's back. And it flung up, and when it flung up, she brought her arm back down while running in a natural motion, which led to her hitting her. Like, all right, man. Whatever. I thought this headline was just funny. Well, not the headline, but what was in the headline. I mean, what's in the story. LAPD officers secretly recording making racist comments, complaint alleges. That's not the funny part. The Los Angeles Police Department is under scrutiny after the complaint was filed accusing officers of making racist and derogatory comments about their colleagues. The alleged remarks were secretly recorded. An officer working for LAPD's recruitment office recorded dozens of conversations for the better part of a year. The LA Times report details roughly 90 recordings of officers, supervisors reportedly voicing open discrimination against potential recruits and colleagues based on race and orientation. Now listen to this. In one conversation, a Latina LAPD officer offered advice on how to fight African Americans. You hit black people in the liver. I heard they got weak livers, he said. According to the complaint filed on January 5th with the LAPD's Professional Standard Bureau and Inspection General Office, the same officer allegedly described a Latina janitor to her colleagues as a wetback. This was hilarious because every last person on the planet goes down if you hit him in the liver. There's a whole thing in boxing where if you hit somebody with a liver shot, it's over. It's done. That don't matter what race. How the hell do black people got weak livers? Honorable says the NAACP makes me think she's non-African American now. Didn't know they got involved. Well, the first thing I was going to do, and I ain't going to be honest, I got a little lazy on it. I was going to try to find the young girl's parents and where they was from. And not just where they was from, what connections they have. Are they a part of some type of frat or sorority? Her parents. So that's what I was going to look up, but I decided this story shouldn't even be that important. Just say sorry and move on. Why is this making all this smoke? Why is this fire burning so hard? It don't even make sense. You said the NAACP is a joke. Facts. Apparently we got weak livers though, y'all. All right. I bet the girls have a history together. Oh yeah, there's a lot of beefs in track and in sports in general. So yeah, she didn't want her to pass. If I'm not mistaken, I think they were in like 4th or 5th place. It was like it was a couple of people ahead of them. So it wasn't even it was a relay 4x4 one relay, so 4x2. I'm sorry, but they weren't nowhere near first place. It was somebody way ahead of them, at least 2 people. So she didn't want her to pass her. I hope it ain't over some obvious reason. I think they're high school girls, so hopefully ain't what it probably is going to be tracked back to. Speaking of beefing, 2 more arrested in connection with Southern University fraternity hazing death. So Caleb Wilson, the young man and trying to join the frat who was punched in the chest multiple times, ended up having having a heart attack, if I'm not mistaken. 2 more arrests have been made in connection to the death of a 20-year-old Southern University student who was repeatedly punched in the off-campus fraternity hazing ritual. Kyle Thurman, 25, Isaiah Smith, 28, have been arrested and face charges of felony criminal hazing for the role in the death of Caleb Wilson, a mechanical engineering junior at a school who died in late February. Last week, the police arrested Caleb McCrae, 23, who faces charges of criminal hazing and manslaughter. He allegedly punched Wilson 4 times before the players collapsed unresponsive and appeared to suffer a seizure, police say. Now, what makes this whole situation crazy is after he had his seizure and passed out, they didn't take him to the hospital. They changed his clothes and took him somewhere and pretty much dumped him off. They didn't get him help immediately. Now we're talking intent. So even if you didn't intend to, kill him with the whole hazing situation, the fact that you try to cover it up makes it even worse. And in the comment section on all the posts involving this, I noticed a whole bunch of the people that are part of the frats and sororities, how much they were defending him. Hey, it is what it is, and unfortunately, these things should be banned, but it happens. He was trying to join the group because he thought it was an important thing that would help him in his life. Everybody suffered in this situation, that type of thing. Honorable says, the hazing situation shocked me. Why are they arresting individuals? What happened to the brotherhood? Everyone got to go down for this. What he had on that his clothes needed to be changed. I don't know all the details to that. They just said that they moved. They would and it didn't get him help when he probably could have been saved. Probably out of fear and shock. We can give him that. We could say that's probably more than likely what that was, obviously, but very, very sad situation. And you got this right here. HBCU halts Greek life intake as death investigation continues. The HBCU community is mourning the tragic loss of Southern University student Caleb Wilson following an unsanctioned off-campus fraternity event. It sparked grief, outrage, and urgent action from both university and law enforcement officials. So no intake for now, but I want to show this right here. This dude made a comment. So these are the 3 men who were involved in this. And I want to show this comment here. This guy right here said, the fraternity rituals specifically at Southern black colleges are so demonic, making men engage in sexual activities with one another because it's brotherhood, and also going through hazing, branding, and adding something to your resume is wild as fuck. He went on to say this right here. Well, that's what he had to say on the situation. He brought up he also said, that guy, I don't know who he is. He also said that 2 of those other dudes that were arrested, he think they are homosexuals. So it is what it is. I'm not going to go deep because I'm not going to put that on them. But he said 2 of those dudes are homosexuals and that the punching and the hazing isn't the only thing that has something to do with this. Honorable says, outside of a few black comedian entertainers, have y'all seen the benefit of black fraternities? Well, they gave Kamala Harris a couple million, so if you count that as a benefit. This young lady here who spoke on it, she had media, I guess you could say. She had this to say.
Y'all talk about God gonna do this, God gonna.
Well, yeah, isn't what's his name? The guy who started BET, I'm sure he's part of a frat. What's his name? The guy who owns the Weather Channel, Byron Allen. He's part of one, I'm sure. So you got to give credit to that stuff. The business moguls, a lot of them are attached. Steve Harvey, obviously he's a comedian, so you already brought him up. So yeah, a lot of the business moguls, a lot of people who are at the top of the business world in those rooms. A lot of them are in those sororities or fraternities.
Gonna do that, bitch. I'm not trying to hear none of that. You make certain decisions, you do certain things, and you see the outcomes every time. Like, my tempo never switched up, bitch. I don't give a fuck if the dude my friend, I don't care if I ain't know him from a can of paint. I said everybody involved deserves to be held accountable. Somebody said he didn't know. How many times I gotta say that? How many times have I already said that? None of them knew that shit was gonna play out like that. That's why they did it. There's been multiple times at Southern where organizations have been called out on their hazing before it got too far, and they shut the line down and everybody gets consequences. That should have happened in the same instance, but it didn't. And you see what can happen when it's not when hazing is not have a light shined upon it, like when it's not broadcasted, you see what happened. Shit like this, people coming up unalive because
I'm not gonna put this whole. They were criticizing this woman here because when the initial report came out about the young man's death, she spoke on it in a more humanizing way towards the actual victim. When she found out one of the dudes that were implicated is a friend of hers, she kind of started saying how everybody should be to blame and it's an unfortunate situation all around. So she got a lot of critique for that. This whole situation is crazy because there's entire like communities that are just HBCU graduates or people who are in college at the moment, where they just talk about the current drama on campus and stuff. And obviously, this is one of the biggest stories they were talking about, and they was on her ass all week, talking crazy. But yeah. So rest in peace. And to be honest with you, it was a hazing situation. They didn't mean to kill him, but I don't know what the punishment should be. Manslaughter, obviously. But the question got to be asked: should those young men or those men involved, because one of them was, almost 30, but is a life sentence fair? Is 20 years fair? Is 15 years fair? Is 10 years fair? I mean, what's the punishment for this situation? This wasn't some dudes that were trying to kill somebody, but I don't know. Anyway, Anima says the Weather Channel guy couldn't even get support for his case. He had Yvette advocating and educating the people on the case. I don't see no benefit for black men other than homosexuality. Well, I mean, technically, Byron Allen, quote unquote, won that case. They settled. He got what he wanted out of the situation. So I don't know if it benefited him. I don't know if I could say it. He got a settlement, if I'm not mistaken. I said, point me to the communities. I'm nosy. The ones I found, the chat rooms, you gotta just go to what's it called, HBCU Shade Room, and you'll see them in the comments. Sometimes you can click on their profile and they're part of the communities. Or you probably can just go to X, go to communities, and type in the sorority names or whatever, or HBCU, and you'll find them. I said hazing is banned by organizations, so yes, they all your questions. Yeah, punishment, obviously, but I don't know how long. I don't know. But prayers to all involved. And I need to send some prayers to this person. They finally got something other than that school that might stick on Dr. Umar Johnson. Virginia says peer pressure is deadly, definitely. And peer pressure have ended many men and women. So Dr. Umar, outside of the school situation, this is his first real scandal on social media. Dr. Umar faces physical abuse claims by alleged daughter, urges followers to pick a side. So as y'all probably already know, young lady came onto the internet, says Dr. Umar has not really been part of her life, how she wants to meet her other sister, that Dr. Umar keeps denying her a chance to meet her. He won't give her the information she needs to track down her other sister that he has, calling him a deadbeat pretty much. And yeah, it's not looking good for him. Let me play a little bit of the video.
Biological father is Dr. Umar. I tried to contact him about, getting to know my sister. I asked him if he knows her or if he has her number. He ignored me and never responded. I'm 22 years old now. My dad has never been to anything important, no graduation, no birthday parties, nothing. He has not been in my life. Forget the relationship. I really don't care too much about that at this point. I just wanted a conversation out of you, and you shut me down. You ignored me. And I'm not bashing you. Really? I just don't understand why you're ignoring me. I'm 22 years old, and you have yet to be in my life.
Y'all know me too well. Y'all know my love for children is too strong for anybody to be coming out the woodworks telling you they've been trying to reach me when my number has been public for 20 years. Listen, brothers and sisters.
Now, I'm going to pause for a second. Alma says, she knowing as hell, that's definitely his child. Dry begging ass runs through their blood. I didn't understand her video because at one point she says that he's never been a part of her life. But then she said she wanted to have a conversation with him to ask about her sister. So you're talking to him, but he shut it down. So I'm wondering, okay, what is the point of coming to the internet about your private relationship with your father? Do you want the internet to bully him into telling you about your sister? Why is this public? And I hate the fact that so many times, and not just with somebody like Umar, just the regular everyday people you see, especially on Facebook, people just airing out all their private life and their private business on the internet where it's going to be forever. It benefits you coming online there's no point. Virginia says, isn't it time for Jermaine's reign to end? Sacrificial. Huh? Kiva says, gotta catch the real wrestling replay. Have a good week. All right, have a good week, Kiva.
I want y'all to listen. My phone number has been the same for 20 years. So anybody telling you they've been trying to reach me and my phone number hasn't changed in 20 years, mind you, I speak at graduations in Philadelphia all the time. I'm on the street in Philadelphia all the time. I have events in Philadelphia all the time.
And I thought, what I'm confused is, Umar has already told us he has 2 daughters. He's been saying this for years. I always knew he had 2 daughters. I didn't know if it was by the same woman or not. So for you to say you want to meet her and want to know her, he's already, he's too much of a public figure. He has siblings, or not siblings, but he has family, I'm sure, cousins that know his other daughter. This just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. It don't make sense.
I got family in Philadelphia everywhere, and you've been trying to find me? Stop the cap now. Can we please stop the cap, brothers and sisters? Trying to build your struggle streamer career off of my back, coming up out of nowhere, acting like you've been looking for me. Get Mama Smurf. When can the 3 of us have a sit down? I'm ready for this. When can Mama Smurf, Papa Smurf, and Baby Smurf have a sit down?
Arma said the sister mother reached out to her. She hasn't followed up on that yet. Unfortunately, I don't want to speak ill of the daughter. I don't know her. God bless her. It does seem like this was for attention. I'm just, Arma said, I didn't know this goofy had children. You were in too deep. No, he said it plenty of times in his speeches. He said I have 2 daughters. He's never hid he has kids. So I don't know. This just seems like this was a clout chase. This is her way of getting back at him for something. I don't know. It is what it is. But I hope she understands that the internet is a weird place where in a moment where they might cheer for you because they might believe you, or not even believe you, they just like the fact that you're attacking him, they will turn on you the first chance they get a chance. They're gonna pick apart your life now. Do you have children? What is your career? What do you do? They're gonna pick apart your entire life now. So I hope that seems lame against what he preaches. He's about black culture, family. 100%. We're all hypocrites in some way, but his commentary on family unit and keeping the black family strong, and the fact that he has kids by multiple women with no marriages, he's a hypocrite. Even though, and it doesn't justify it, he's came out and spoke on it without hesitance. He always speaks on, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have got married before I became a public figure. I messed up my relationship. He's taking some level of accountability for his lack of keeping that family structure together. But I agree, he's a hypocrite. Virginia said his response is Dusty versus leadership. I can only take him in sound bites. The way he talks is annoying, and repeating his phrases is too much for me. I feel you. But hopefully, now she also accused him of abusing her mother. Once again, we never heard this from her mother. Like I said, I'm not going to go into it. More will be revealed, as they say. More will be revealed. What else we got? I'm gonna end this segment with this, and I got a last segment after this. Where there's a guy on TikTok who went viral, black man, who's broke down the problems in the black community and the fixing of relationships And he he gave just basic logical points in 6 minutes that you can't really disagree with. And people are talking about it. Let me just show a little bit. I'm not going to show the whole thing.
So today we're going to talk about a more ideal dating model than traditional for black people, because the traditional dating system was built on white wealth and government handouts that excluded us, right? So this means regardless of what we pick, 50-50, 100-0, none of those are going to work because black people experience economic theft, unpaid labor, and social instability at higher rates. So we need a system that prioritizes fairness, stability, and collective power in a relationship. So I call this the Black Legacy Model. It's a framework designed to counteract systemic barriers, redistribute labor fairly, and build generational wealth for us. Because black love can't thrive under a system that wasn't made for us. So
that goes along with that guy. I forgot his name. The guy whose dad is African and his mother is Black American. I forgot his name. Yvette. He's been on Yvette's platform a few times, where he says that black relationships can't work until we get reparations. He's not saying exactly that, but that seems to be somewhat of a point he just made there about black love.
Here's the first core pillar: financial partnership. It's not who pays what. Here's why the traditional model fails. Black men have been locked out of wealth building, right? Redlining, mass incarceration, job discrimination, and black women had to work and run households, double labor with no recognition, and that wasn't sustainable, right? White couples succeed because they inherit assets. Black people often inherit struggle. Here's where the legacy model fixes it: income-based contributions. Whoever makes more pays more without resentment, period. That's the end of that discussion. Economic flexibility. If one partner is in career building mode, the other one provides stability. But the goal is long-term balance, right? Asset accumulation over consumption, right? Stop the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Prioritize home ownership, investments, and life insurance. But financial transparency and education. Talk about money openly. No more financial secrets or struggling in silence, right? No one should feel like a provider or a burden. We are building together.
I'm not going to put the whole thing, but I like the fact that it was just a dude who's giving solutions. Regardless if you agree with him, it was a man giving his solutions to what he deemed to be a problem. Honorable says, similar to black men saying they're not comfortable getting married while broke. Well, that's something you're taught at a young age. Never be in a relationship while not financially stable. So don't even bother trying to, well, it goes to the more extreme level when we talk about people that say that you shouldn't date at all when you're not financially stable. Then you have the people say, well, you can frolic around, but don't have any serious relationships because it's just not going to work. They always in relationships. Situationships. People have, it's some people believe that, if you're not financially stable and, everything right, you shouldn't have children. People below a certain income yearly should not be allowed to have children. That kind of goes into eugenics. I don't agree with that completely. But, yeah, that's definitely a normal thing. If you're not financially a certain place, if you're not set up right, well, you probably shouldn't get into anything serious. Virginia says, do we know his page name? Yeah, let me zoom in and try to get it for you.
This is where the American model failed us.
His name is sorry.
Families accumulate wealth through generational support, right? Inherit.
Hold on, let me
So today we're
I think it's Cypher CJ. Let me show the screen. You see it? CYPHER.J. Cypher J. I'm saying you couldn't be dating. You couldn't be dating broke. I support that. Yeah. So that's the norm. But he's saying you should partner with someone who you can build with, and not see that as a leader and provider for either party. That this is a partnership. He's pushing more of a partnership thinking, which is not really nothing new. He's explaining it in a way from a historical and a data-driven standpoint.
A more ideal. It really is just about helping each other. No one partner is overworked while the other coasts. Balance is what creates longevity. It is not your feelings, right? And this is also childcare is a partnership, not a favor. A father isn't a babysitter; he's an equal parent. We got to start actually just talking about the ability we need to have, given how far we've gotten.
So yeah, he said some great things in there. Once again, I like that he was giving his own solutions. And it's funny, that's the first time I've seen a comment section or a mention section where there was no disagreement. You couldn't disagree with it. He didn't blame man or woman. It wasn't no gender war. He gave out real logical solutions, common sense solutions that put both people in a position where, hey, this is how it can work going forward. Anyway, let me show this. Hold on. Oh, I didn't make one. Sorry, my bad. Let me show this then. Crews remove Black Lives Matter street mural near White House. The construction crews began removing the large painting of the words Black Lives Matter on a street on a street 1 block from the White House on Monday as Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser struggles to fend off threats of encroachment from both Donald Trump and Republican-controlled Congress. We talked about Muriel Bowser like 2 years ago. It was something, she was into some controversial situation. I can't remember exactly. Anonymous says, I don't recall us asking for that. Yeah, this wasn't a big deal. They did this to try and call themselves being an ally or solidarity, whatever they were trying to do. Getting rid of it isn't a big deal. I think Trump is doing a lot of, well, this isn't necessarily Trump, but he's clearly has some level of influence on these type of things happening, especially look at the corporations with DEI and stuff. This is them trying to go back to what they considered normal. So pre-2020, they're trying to make this country normal again. But I don't think they understand that this is the new normal. It's over. And it's funny how much work it's taken to get this up. They have to really dig it out. This ain't no simple paint over. And also, we already pointed out how the podcast space is going to become the new legacy media, where you're going to see a lot of prominent Democratic figures going on podcasts more often, starting their own podcast, as you can see with Michelle Obama. But Galvin Newsom went on Charlie Kirk's podcast. Charlie Kirk, who said some blatantly racist stuff, not surprised. But Galvin Newsom in his interview pointed out that his son watches Charlie Kirk. Galvin Newsom is California Democratic politician, but he's sitting on a podcast with what he considered to be right-wing extremists. So it's clear he's trying to show himself to be a moderate to have a better chance in 2028.
Last night, trying to put my son to bed, he's like, no, Dad, what time? What time's Charlie going to be here? What time? And I'm like, dude, you're in school tomorrow. He's 13. He's like, no. This morning, wakes up at 6 something. He's like, I'm coming. I'm like, he literally would not leave the house.
Did you let him take off school?
No, he did. Of course not. He's not here for a good reason. But the point is
you canceled school for like 2 years. One day.
The point is the point, which is you are making a damn dent.
Thank you. I'm kidding.
When you go to these college campuses, I love watching your TikTok, which is next level. And clearly, that's expressed by my 13-year-old son.
I want to meet this guy.
Yeah, I actually.
He's coming to a Turning Point event this summer, Tampa, Florida, Student Action Summit.
He's high giggling with a dude who they called white nationalist. Alma says whites and Democrats are struggling to triggering African Americans to take to the streets and protest. They need us out there to mask something. We really messing up the game, not react. That's a fact. In particular, we can get past this. Let me show this.
Does Trump expect? Oh, I believe he expects violence. I believe he expects confrontation. I believe he's working toward a civil war.
Why? This is the second or third time this woman has came out. Maxine Waters has came out and called for violence in the streets. This is the second or third time she's done this. So as Honorable said, there's definitely a push by the Democrats to try and force black people in the streets to protest. They want another 2020, but nothing they're pushing is happening. They tried with the DEI, they tried with the other stuff. Nothing is really creating enough of of galvanizing or emotional enough to do it. William said, what up, William? He said, Malcolm told us about them white moderates. Well, can't trust them. You got to be hot or cold. Nobody likes lukewarm. Now, this right here. This goes back to what Honorable just said about them trying to force a revolt. There have been calls to issue a federal pardon to Derek Chauvin. It would not get him out of prison. I don't understand, when we talk about this multiple times, why the right wing are so obsessed with George Floyd. It's kind of obvious. They felt like he was some drug using loser of a black dude. There's no way somebody actually went to prison for killing him. There's no way. The lowest level of a black man should not get a Caucasian man arrested and sent to prison. I get it. That's their mindset. But I want to show, I got it? Yeah, I'm going to show it later. So, Virginia says, not our clowns, our circus. I'm sipping tea, eating popcorn and chocolate while watching the white man destruction show. Yeah, the Schumer show, definitely. Let me show this. Let me show what they're talking about, the call for a pardon. Adam says, that DEI for white women is still being pushed with all the target is losing money narratives. I never stop shopping.
If we are issuing pardons, however, there is one person that President Trump should pardon from federal charges forthwith. It would be incredibly controversial, but I think that it's absolutely necessary. That person is Derek Chauvin. President Trump should, in fact, pardon Derek Chauvin. He should. He should pardon him his federal charges. If we are talking about reversing the evils of the last several years in American life, obviously COVID and its handling was a massive evil. Destroyed the economy, set us on a path to fiscal insanity, destroyed children, led to massive health-related cover-ups, just horrifying all the way around. And President Trump has taken...
I'm gonna pause for a second. Y'all see that Cuomo is now is running for mayor again in New York? The same Cuomo who we know was sending older people should I say, who were sick to these retirement homes and not to the hospital, allowing them to infect and drive the sickness to other older people and leading to mass deaths inside these old folks' homes. People couldn't see their grandparents, aunts and uncles in these retirement homes. That was Cuomo that did that, and now he's running for office again. He should be strung up. That's the real reason that sexual harassment case came against Cuomo was not because the Democrats just wanted to get rid of him. It was because they were trying to cover up the other stuff he was accused of with the older people at a retirement home, was possibly, allegedly, led to deaths. Stack the numbers on top of all time. Stack numbers on numbers. Virginia says that that Jew only cares about his dollars being disrupted. Fake ass activists.
Taken on a lot of those things. But when it came to BLM, the inciting event for the BLM riots that caused $2 billion in property damage in the United States and set America's race relations on their worst footing in my lifetime, was in fact the railroading of Derek Chauvin in the death of George Floyd. The evidence demonstrates that Derek Chauvin did not in fact commit murder of George Floyd. George Floyd was high on fentanyl. He had a significant pre-existing heart condition. George Floyd was saying he could not breathe before he was even out of the car. He was in the car saying he could not breathe. Derek Chauvin, for large segments of even the tape that was shown, had his knee on George Floyd's shoulder or back, not on his neck. The autopsy of George Floyd showed that he had no damage.
All right, we get the point. The reason why I'm showing this is because, as somebody pointed out, at the center of all this racial strife in America, all the back and forth, a lot of the times you can draw it to one of these people. They love to play both sides against each other, in America especially. When you look up all these events that's happened over the last 6-7 years that went viral, that led to a whole bunch of stuff in the streets, it was one of them in the center. So the fact that this Jewish, this other Caucasian man to be released, knowing that not released, I'm sorry, to be pardoned by Donald Trump, when he know that it is not going to release him from prison. Derek Chauvin has two different convictions. One is state, one is federal. Trump can only pardon him for the federal case, not the state. So releasing him will do nothing but, to pardoning him, Trump doing that would only anger people. It would literally not get him out of prison at all. He still is serving 20 years. So this is him trying to create rage. Say a hot take and get people to talk about it. But I want to show that even the so-called black Republicans are pointing out how stupid it is. Let me show this dude right here. You might have seen him before, the Rob guy, Black Republican. Even he pointed out how silly it is. Honorable says, being the white shapeshifter Jew, this also is a miscalculation for his people. Millennials and Zoomers don't care nothing about NAACP or them marching with Martin. I love this for Ben.
There is absolutely nothing beneficial that pardoning Chauvin would do for the Trump administration, for this country, for race relations, for anybody else. It is absolutely destructive. It makes no sense. And so for me, when I first saw this, generally conversations that happen come from the ground up. Usually there's some sort of murmuring under, and then it kind of like bubbles up, and then it becomes a national conversation. This seems to be a very top-down conversation that comes from somebody with an enormous amount of influence. This is nothing that anybody was talking about or thinking about. So it really makes me question, why is this conversation happening right now? It makes me question, why did Ben Shapiro want to start this conversation right now? Who does this benefit? Doesn't benefit Trump, doesn't benefit America, doesn't benefit race relations, it doesn't benefit anything. And the last point I'll make on it is this. There are very few people that can actually really speak to in depth what was going on in that trial, how how George Floyd actually died, et cetera, et cetera. There's probably 5 people that have, spent the bulk of their day on a podcast set every single day, like Ben Shapiro, like maybe 2 or 3 other people that can really talk to you in depth about this. So then they're positioning themselves to say, no, listen to me. I'm the one who really knows about this. So what? Trump's agenda is supposed to be derailed. Where we're at as a country right now is supposed to be derailed because these leftists and these Democrats are looking for a reason to have another race war. That is what they love. So why this conversation is happening right now, I have no idea.
You're not for it at all.
No.
Even he said it at the end there. He know the play by the Democrats, and Ben Shapiro is trying to lean into it for whatever reason. Like I keep saying, Trump may be getting the most black support of any Republican candidate in decades. Why are y'all doing everything you can to destroy any of that support? How hard is just stop? There's no need. Just stop. So does it benefit Jewish people or Israel? Race baiting happened, then a large bill is passed and money is funneled to them. As always. They have
another question, Ben Shapiro. You brought up, drug use. You brought up criminal record, if I remember correctly. I think that's what you said, right? Right, Ben Shapiro? Just a simple question. Respectfully, sir, would you have taken that position if George Floyd was a Jewish person? A white Jewish person? If a black cop had his knee on a white Jewish person for over 9 minutes, Ben Shapiro, would you have called for that individual to be pardoned? I'm just asking. It's a rhetorical question because you know what I believe the answer to be is, right?
Well, like I agree with Honorable. It's not really going the way he expected. There's a lot more pushback from even the right-wing people. They're asking, but why? What for? What is the benefit of this? It doesn't make sense. Hold on, I'm going to go. Then I want to show, because Trump spoke in front of Congress. I want to show what they did. They called themselves. Standing against him.
And I did it with intent. The president indicated that he had a mandate. I said to the president, you do not have a mandate to cut Medicaid. I have constituents who need Medicaid. They will suffer and some will die if they don't get Medicaid. I heard the speaker when he said that I should cease. I did not, and I did not with intentionality. It was not done out of a burst of emotion. I was emotional about it, but I did it with intentionality. I think that on some questions of conscience, you have to be willing to suffer the consequences. And
Virginia, so I missed the first part of the show today, Duke, but did y'all find it interesting the amount of music artists that died during Black History Month? Yeah, I went through a whole list. From Tony member, a couple of them. I was surprised by how many soul singers passed away. And I talked about the revival of certain music down south and certain traditions becoming more prominent amongst the younger people under 25. Yeah, I definitely spoke about that. Adam says, it's been having financial issues over there without Candace. He knows he now has to be the face of the talking points they used to give her. Yeah. It might be some money problems. I would hate to think that he's saying stuff to be a gotcha moment just to get clicks. He has a large enough platform where I would think he wouldn't need to do that, but you might be right. We say, yeah, soul singer. Watched Al on the Breakfast Club. Al need to retire completely useless. Completely useless.
I have said I will. I will suffer whatever the consequences are, because I don't believe that in the richest country in the world, people should be without good health care. I stood up for my constituents then. I'm standing up for my constituents now. The officers who escorted me out, they were kind to me. They're people.
So he got put out. That's the point. He got put out of the Congress because he was sent out. And in the midst of being sent out, this is what happened.
By its adoption of House Resolution 189, the House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured, that Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
So while the Al Green dude is trying to get attention and getting put out, they decided to sing the song "We Shall Overcome."
The House had come to order. The House had come to order. What's it?
See, this is the mess I'm talking about. Y'all gonna sing a damn song. If it's so dangerous, what the president is doing, shouldn't you be putting together legislation and working together to make sure you soften the damage as much as possible rather than throwing tantrums in the damn Congress? What are you doing? Anyway, Trump planning on canceling legal status for 240,000 Ukrainians who fled war with Russia, report says. Show this video. Trump administration plans to revoke legal status to 24,000 Ukrainians who fled the sources back to war-torn Lvov and Kiev. Trump is so cruel. Now, these are the things, when people think about Ukraine and the war and stuff, they forget that West Ukraine is just fine. As a matter of fact, there's so much funding going to Ukraine now, they've kind of went up in status. These are the things that's going on in war-torn Ukraine. They're just having concerts and having a good time. So now Trump is talking about sending their ass back. Are the Afghan people still here? Remember the Afghans that came over here when Biden left Afghanistan and left $1 million and, I'm sorry, not $1 million, left $1 billion and a whole bunch of weapons and stuff? I'm saying so embarrassing. Yeah, Al Green and them, man. They didn't even name Al Green. Speaking of embarrassing, I didn't talk about it last week. And I'm not gonna kick her back in as much as I was last week, because at this point it's whatever. But let me show this.
It's a cultural divide. I'm gonna get it on the flow. You really about to do it? 40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music.
Jasmine, Crockett.
You really about to do it? Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. They get on it like that. Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like buck. Must have on a beat, bro.
I want to ask the question, and it has to be on purpose. It has to. But the pushing of Jasmine Crockett to be at the forefront and just the visual of the Democratic Party, that clearly is on purpose. And now you got some dude running against her who's planning on beating her. Look, I don't hate her. She's doing cringy things because, you know, they think in this age, in order to connect with the everyday person, they have to do stuff like this on the internet to go viral. But my God, the way she's getting caught up, she's doing these interviews, the way she's talking, and I'm not saying that anybody should code switch and not be themselves at all times, but come on, man. Come on. Williams says, oh, Lord. Jasmine has replaced Tiffany. Damn, I ain't gonna say she took over Tiffany Henry. Tiffany Henry was doing crimes. Like, it's a little different. Alma says, a whole sister girl mess. I saw her showing off her makeup collection on TikTok the other day. Shake my head. Yeah, but it kind of started. I'll say the first influencer politician was probably Obama, where it was more about the aesthetics. It was more about the quote unquote representation. And then I'll say you start getting people like AOC and all those people where their online profile is so large that they're much bigger than the part of the country that they actually supposed to represent. The little city or town that they represent, they're much bigger than that. Like, you got people like AOC with like 30 million followers on social media. So now you got all these politicians thinking that the only way they can gain influence in the White House is through having a large platform. And I guess that kind of has replaced the idea of knowing secrets, lies being told and stuff. But there has to be some reason why the Democratic Party is allowing Jasmine Crockett to promote herself so much. Because I remember that guy who was in a wheelchair on the Republican side. I can't remember his name, but there was a guy who was a Republican, a young dude, a couple years ago, who ran for office, won. He's in a wheelchair. And he was talking all that big stuff. He was being pushed into the front of the party. And then he said something about the sex parties that happened with the Democrats and Republicans both. He was calling both of them out. And then he got accused of wearing a dress at a party. And then he was out of office, and you ain't heard from him since. So they know how to tell somebody to shut up and go to the background. So the fact that they're letting her be at the forefront is on purpose. Anima says her agenda is trans and immigrants, and she's getting the black girl protection. I hate it so much. Yeah, she does talk about a lot of. She said in a recent clip, she said, are you going to be working the fields? Are you going who's going to be the person that come over and babysit our kids or something like that? She said, who's going to pick our food out of the fields and stuff? Somebody got to do it, and y'all don't want to do it, so you got to choose them. I said that was a slap in the face to two different people. To them, calling them low-level workers, and to the people here who are assuming they won't collect their own food and stuff in this country. William said the guy in a wheelchair getting pushed died by yeah, that wasn't even on purpose. They pushed his ass out of office, to tell you that much. I forgot his name though. He's a young dude. I think he got injured in the military. He was left crippled. And that's not the right word to use apparently, but yeah.
Law enforcement, local law enforcement, they are always going after crime. And they don't say, oh, you committed a murder? Oh, but you're an immigrant? Well, let me let you go, right? So they are always focused on crime. They continue to say things like the illegals and that they broke the law coming in. But what they're not telling the American people is that it is a civil violation. It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations. And so that's why I wanted to point out, don't give me this fake outrage about criminals roaming our streets when you guys stand 10 toes down for the biggest criminal that we have ever seen.
More about Trump. Drina says, what's she talking about, Willis? Oh, shit, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. I didn't mean to get rid of that one.
Absolutely. We may not have the numbers just yet, that doesn't mean that we don't have fight left in our bodies. And so I am going to fight him every step of the way until we deserve.
There we go. That's right, Honorable. You got it. Madison Cawthorn. That's his name. Madison Cawthorn is a dude. He's in a wheelchair. Young dude. He was somebody that was pushing to the front of the party. They was acting like he was going to be a star in the party. And then he said something about the adultery and the sexual stuff going on. He's a Christian. He was he was saying he was a Christian person. So he was pointing out the debauchery behind the scenes, the drug usage, the cocaine, the parties going on. And after that, he lost his race. They told him to shut up for a couple months. You ain't see him no more. And then he lost the race he was in, which means they got him up out of here. And you ain't heard from him since.
Because it was my ancestors that built this motherfucker. Okay, I'm done now. I'm done.
And now they're trying to use this to say that this is the code switching.
First of all, it's good to see you in the new year. You know, no one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress. It's just not what my plan was. But what I've always decided is that I would step up when there was a need. Listen, he up there, he's hearing all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't, you know. But when she called me and said, I think it's time for me to retire, and you're the one that I believe should take my seat, I really was kind of caught off guard. I didn't anticipate that. If anyone knows anything about the Congresswoman, they know. We showed up, and if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense. So please give some love. This took a little bit of coordinating to do, for sure. We got some cool shirts.
And now I think the purpose of her is to replace what they call the squad. The ones who are supposed the group that's supposed to be rebelling against the Trump or the Republican Party on the Democratic side, the so-called progressives. It seems like they're about to try and use her to replace the AOC, who I think is going to run for office, who I think is kind of getting away from some of those progressive ideals, and she's going to start moving more center, like most of the other politicians. And they need somebody to replace her. Williams says, I'm not even mad at her code switching. I'm upset at the fact that she's airhead. Jen says she's ghetto like Tiffany. To be honest with you, the code switching is more so the language. The way she talks is the same. She has the same accent. She's obviously calmer. She's not being as, sister girl, as Honorable says. She's not being as much of a sister girl, but her voice didn't really change. But, Honorable says, will this real middle-class Jasmine stand up? We tired of sister girl act. Who was the squad? All I hear about is AOC one. AOC, Ilhan Omar. Hold on, let me see. Hold on. I know it's AOC, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, and Rashida Tlaib. Two of them gone. I mean, Ayanna Pressley been gone, if I'm not mistaken. Got her up out of here pretty quick. Rashida Tlaib, they just got rid of her. Ilhan Omar, she still got her seat, but she in Minnesota, and she's talking more about Somalians now. So yeah. Oh yeah, don't forget, what's his name? Jamal Bowman. Cori Bush is another one. She gone. So yeah, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, Ilhan Omar, AOC, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, Greg Cash. I don't know these other ones. Summer Lee, Delina Ramirez. I don't know them. But yeah, those are the ones that were part of the squad. There's only like 3 of them left. Virginia said, yeah, the language, I prefer to hear her make her points like a professional versus rounded away girl. I use profane language, but I know there's a time and a place. Exactly. But like I said, she was using that language on TikTok, trying to create a platform, but you're already in office. You're a public figure. You can't talk and act like that. I'm saying you can't, but you shouldn't probably. So the squad used to launch the Latinx AOC got it. Yeah, pretty much. They used her to launch her into public sphere, acting like she was rebellious. She was a rebel against the system. And then she became the pet to, what's her name? She's going to be a replacement to her, former speaker. All right, Hold on, let me make sure I look her name up. Former. Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, AOC is going to be the new Nancy Pelosi. Last thing I'm going to talk about, I'm going to run through this, nothing deep. Trump is on his bully still. Trump White House has asked the U.S. military to develop options for the Panama Canal. I think she is on him. I think she's definitely going to be the new. Look up how Nancy Pelosi first came in office when she was young. She was the idealist, progressive candidate. She got in office, and after about 30 years, she became the center, moderate politician. I think the same thing will happen to her. Anyway, Trump is now saying what he want to send the military to develop options for the Panama Canal. Potential plans range from partnering more closely with Panamanian security forces to a less likely option of U.S. troops seizing the canal by force, U.S. officials told NBC News. Okay. 51st state, Donald Trump closest advisor, Peter Navarro, we already know about this story, threatens to redraw Canadian border amid president's talk of the country becoming next U.S. state. One more. I'm not getting to Ben at all. Trump doubles down on tariffs plans as stocks sink. President Donald Trump on Thursday doubled down on his escalating tariff plans, even as his economic agenda continues to rattle investors and contribute to the weeks-long stock market sell-off. Honorable says Nancy not passing the baton to a Latinx chick. Some young white woman is about to get the big push. Who? They have nobody. The Democratic Party have no black men, and they don't have any more white women to run. They ran them all. Klobuchar, what's the other one name? Elizabeth Warren. They ran all the white women. They ran all the black women, or at least the ones that had a chance to win. And they have no black men and no white women in their party that they can run no more. They got to build them up. It's going to take more than 4 years. Anum says they're about to find somebody. Virginia said we're an eyewitness to the white man trying to once again grab other people's land. Yeah, they're trying to get back on their bully. I think Trump recognized that soft power don't work for the United States because nobody respect them because they were bullied for so long. So don't try to be cozy and up nice to people now. Nobody wants to be friends with America. They only want to be around America because America has the money to help them, but they also don't trust America because America has their military. Honestly, some podcasters maybe. We'll see. Trump pushing the tariff still. The last couple ones. Talking about Canada still. We already talked about that. Now, I was going to get into this, but I'm going to skip it. How they're using AI to now replace. We talked about AI before, but the AI they're doing now is going to replace a lot more than we thought, or at least it's going further, quicker than I thought. They have all type of new AI that's coming. I'll get into it next week probably. I'm not gonna get into it right now. I'm just gonna jump to this last part and I'm gonna play. Speaking of replacements, I'm gonna play this.
Before invading the nations, the U.S. always fabricates human rights violation to justify intervention. Today, same tactics are being used against South Africa. The growing calls by right-wing groups for foreign funding to establish independent states and to be armed by foreign interest must be recognized as part of a broader plan. This is the early stage of economic isolation, leading ultimately to military intervention. Next, AGOA will be terminated, escalating tensions between USA and South Africa. Our government must distinguish African racist groups exploiting U.S. imperialism to fund their racist fantasies of an independent state. That will never happen.
I've never seen so many white people claim they're native to South Africa. Which is because you got South Africans who are down there who are now trying to use, through Elon Musk, trying to use America to bully the people in South Africa. And they're referring to themselves as native South Africans. Because the whole thing that they push is that before the Caucasians came to South Africa, that it was empty land and nobody owned it. That the cities and stuff that they built was on empty land, unowned land, which is the same excuse America uses here in the United States. While at the same time, if you go back to those developing years in South Africa, they had signs saying European only. So you can't say you're native South African when your ancestors said that they were European. But yeah, that's besides the point. They're still trying to battle them for land. We'll see what happens with South Africa in the future. Let me just keep this going. And with that, I think I'm gonna get up out of here. How long we going? 3 hours. Oh Lord, yeah. Thank y'all for coming through. I appreciate the support. Please like it on the way out. We got a lot going on in the world. Rest in peace to all the people we've lost. Prayers to all who are dealing with tragedy. Virginia said, great show, Duke. Have a strong end. Everyone start refresh on tomorrow. Honorable says, so they didn't take Trump up on his offer to come here. We'll see. Even though I saw a lot of South Africans saying they can't wait until Black Americans meet South Africans, the white South Africans. Because when the dude who said that, he acknowledged, he was like, the Black Americans not going to go for how those white South Africans talk. So he expect us to put them in their place. And I'm like, can't y'all do that? Y'all the majority. You shouldn't need Black Americans to check white South Africans. You should do it on your own in your own country. But anyway, give them grace. Anyway, man, thank y'all for support. Thank y'all for coming through week after week. Really appreciate the support. Be sure to share it if you can. Subscribe if you're not. And like always, all praise to the Most High. And peace, man.